What's going on? I'm Nando.
And I'm DJ.
And I am him.
And this is Mostly Nitpicking, a podcast where every week we pick apart a piece of pop culture by looking exclusively at the details. Woo!
Woohoo!
This week, the first Marvel release of 20, whatever this year is, 23?
Yeah. The first Phase 5 movie.
The first Phase 5 movie.
We're still doing
Maybe
that.
the last. We'll see. This might be
Some
it.
shareholders have their way. Maybe.
Yeah. We're going to talk about Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania. You got to pronounce the colon. And you also have to pronounce the Ant-Man and Quantumania. Otherwise, it's no fun. Like, the end of the movie is very proud. There has those letters in the title. You guys, how are you doing this fine day?
Doing pretty good. I saw this movie like a week ago, so I'm hoping I don't have like amnesia about it, but I think I'll be able to do my best. Which I don't normally do. Sometimes I just phone it in, but today I think I'm going to do my best.
Yeah,
we'll have things to say.
I'm going to do like my third best, maybe.
Okay,
you know?
That's pretty good. How often can you say
honestly,
that?
that's more than I usually give.
I mean...
Well, we appreciate it.
I will do my best. I feel like all the podcasts are tied for best, besides a couple that are slightly higher than that. You know, like your Katz's or whatever. But I think the quality of all the rest of them is great. So
I think sometimes the movie is, there's something to go with that. Can I do a brief aside because you just made me think of something?
Sure.
About the concept of cats.
In that vein, you guys are familiar with Ryan George, the pitch meeting guy? Yeah,
of course.
So he started doing this thing on his channel where he does like a little Q&A, and someone asked him what he thinks his best pitch.
I saw this,
was, and he said it was cats, and I'm like, is it something about cats that brought out the best creator content just because of the nature of that movie?
Yes.
Well, when you watch the best movie ever made, you feel inspired, motivated,
right.
To really put your best foot forward.
Yeah.
So I found that very interesting. How wow, and we think that's one of our best pieces of work. So it must be something about cats.
I mean, people like cats. Mine is currently sitting on my lap trying to get attention, and it ain't working.
Oh, that's great.
People like cats lowercase c, and they like cats uppercase c.
That's right. And then like Katz's Deli.
Well, I don't know, Nando, why you don't put your cat's lowercase c on your stream. I feel like you would like double your views or whatever.
I don't want him to get any ideas. I don't want him to become to get used to the attention. He already gets too much. But yeah, I did want to bring up one quick news this week. Well, I guess we'll do two. One actual news and one silly news, and only because these are the only two I can remember. The first one is, I'm sure you guys saw, Steven Universe in Thunderbolt says something.
Cool.
Yep. So
I'm sure we'll all care and think it's so great.
I'll Google all the Asian American Marvel characters and pick one. That's how people seem to be doing this. Picking the ones. Yeah, exactly. The ones that are usually children, fine. Doesn't matter. They're Asian American, they work. Have we seen their mom in Age of Ultron? Yes. She's about as old as he is now. Like, there's just no way. But, yeah, her, like, I'm trying to think who, there were some rough ones.
He's going to be Jubilee.
Yeah, exactly. I think that makes sense. I think that's fair. I think he's going to be Shang-Chi, personally. I think they're just going to have two Shang-Chis, you know?
Guys, Mr. Fantastic. Why not Mr. Fantastic?
I mean, why not? Except for
now that's open. Anyone can be Mr. Fantastic now.
It is open, and they are working on it. The only reason I don't think he's Mr. Fantastic is because A, he's too likable, and B, I feel like they said they were going to cast Sue before him, and also I just don't see this leaking in a Deadline article. Like I think. When we find out about the Fantastic Four, we'll find out about all four of them at once. It'll be a whole big thing. That being said, they could fuck this up. Like, it could be that they accidentally said the Mr. Fantastic one by accident before the other ones. I could see it.
I believe in their capacity to fuck this up, given recent goings-on. I super believe in their capacity to fuck up.
Perhaps. I mean, the one that I've heard most people say is Sentry, which makes sense because it is rumored that Sentry will be the villain or something of this movie. I don't know about villain. I would say like the Starro of this movie.
But
because
to put Sentry in, they'd have to explain what his whole deal is.
Yep. And they're going to do it. They're going to try. It's not going to work. They're going to just be like, hey, remember the Eternals? He's kind of like that secret superhero man who doesn't do superhero anymore. I feel like there's already another one of these in the MCU, but I can't remember which one it is. Somebody who is secretly a superhero that they need to be reminded, and then they get superpowers.
In the MCU?
Yeah,
yes.
I can't think of who that, unless it's an Inhuman or something.
Oh, maybe. I mean, well, all the Inhumans got hit on the head and then forgot what their names were in that first episode, so it could be that. I mean, it's not quite what Thor is. And you could do it with Thor, but it's not him. Yeah, I don't remember, but I think I think there is one, but I don't remember who. Anyway, it is something they could do, except Sentry's dumb. His backstory's dumb. It's an interesting comic, but besides that, it's not very good. And he's too powerful for 5 super soldiers and a woman who can walk through walls who might not be in the movie anymore to beat up. It just doesn't make sense.
I forgot about Ghost.
You know what? If you pitched this movie to me, I would say the same thing. And look where we are. So sometimes underpowered heroes can kill the biggest villain in history. Spoiler alert. Or beat.
That's a great point, Nando.
Yeah. So that's my one thing.
That's the silly news. Now for time for the serious news.
Yeah, let's get to the real news.
Yeah. So the serious news... I guess there's the other news that the Captain America musical is happening. That's something, right?
Oh my god, So I feel, this feels like personal news for me, so I'm actually going to Disneyland in about 2 months, so I will miss the awesome, fucking Captain America musical, and I'm made very upset by this.
What if it's in previews?
Please.
You just have to break into it. Be one of those Disney Explorer people and, figure out what part of the park it is.
Maybe if I start a YouTube channel now, Native, just give me all your followers, and then I can say I'm like a Disney review channel. They'll give me a sneak peek or something.
That's true. They do that sometimes. Can you get a wig and enough My Little Pony dolls to trick them into thinking you're like Jenny Nicholson or something? That's the only Disney YouTuber I know. But
okay.
You just need to pose as one of them when you get to the park, and then
I feel like
you're in.
Jenny Nicholson is also the only one I know, but I feel like she wouldn't work because she's too critical of them to get free stuff.
That's true. Yeah.
Well, now, a lot of people have told me that I look like Chris Hemsworth. Maybe I could pretend to be Chris Hemsworth. I do look a lot like him. You guys,
I see it. This is a funny joke about the movie.
And you have to make sure that you're not there on the same day as Chris Hemsworth. Otherwise, you'll get a Fantastic Beasts 2 situation where Chris Hemsworth walks down the same hallway 10 seconds later and it'll screw the whole thing up. But yeah, they're making.
I think I can do it. I feel pretty confident.
You guys think it'll be any good?
I mean, it's going to be like a Disney in-park production thing. How good are any of those?
So no.
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
It's apparently a one-act musical, but I don't know what that means.
It's going to be 20 minutes. There's no way it's going to be any length of time that matters.
And that first song is 8 minutes long or something.
That's true. Yeah.
With all the preamble. So I think they could stretch it out. Have one other song about him being in the past, and then that one. And he picks up a bunch of things you can buy on your way out.
Oh, absolutely. Get your Magic Band. Get the expensive Magic Band that syncs with the musical. Where you can it lights up during the songs.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's going to love that.
And then the Genie app will tell you to go to the 11:15 p.m. showing that doesn't exist.
That's right. I forgot about that. But you guys, I have one more news. This is the important news.
Okay.
This is perhaps one of the most important newses of the year. Okay. Did you guys see the big trailer that came out the day after we recorded yesterday's podcast or last week's podcast?
Yes.
I'm going to guess no. So
Fast was Super Bowl.
Yeah, no, it's not that.
Do I not know?
And it may not have it may have been out before. I don't think it was, though. Okay, it was 11 days ago is when this trailer came out for a movie that releases March 3rd. Guys, we finally got a trailer. Remember when Jason Statham was on the podcast and we asked him about that movie, Operation Fortune Ruse de Guerre?
Yeah.
And we were like, what's that? And he told us, and we were like, that doesn't seem real. It's real. It's coming out tomorrow, pretty much.
March 3rd,
is that next week?
Baby?
Is that next week's movie?
I wonder. I bet it's VOD, right? That seems pretty VOD.
I feel like nothing is VOD anymore. I feel like whenever I see a trailer for any movie, it's only in theaters. You peasants, you can't watch this at home. Fuck you.
Yeah.
Well, that's not out till next Friday, so we'd have to have something in between.
That's true.
And now.
But yeah, it is out. It does exist, or it will be out March 3rd.
Who's excited?
It's It's an actor goes to do spy stuff because he's the villain's favorite actor or something. It's kind of like what Jason described, but I thought this was fake. I thought this was a producer situation, but it's real.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that interesting?
It's very exciting.
Yeah, I'm kind of excited. I mean, it's a Guy Ritchie movie. I like Guy Ritchie.
Yeah, he did that great King Arthur movie you love.
I do. I've heard that's good. I never watched it, and not good, but I hear it's fun. I don't know if it's good, but it's probably fine. Speaking of that, you guys, we got to talk about this week's movie.
Oh my gosh!
Ant-Man and the Wasp. Quantumania. You guys, Quantumania. We have to talk about it. It came out. It was released. They released the movie.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. I heard
it's a real movie that came out that you could go see with your human eyeballs.
Not like Fantastic that never came out.
Exactly. And it's currently doing okay. I don't think it's like crushing it, but I think it's the highest grossing Ant-Man movie, I believe.
Okay.
Speaking of highest, it's also the lowest reviewed Marvel movie. According to Rotten Tomatoes. I believe it like just took the title from Eternals yesterday or something.
Damn.
Yeah, and listen, I get it. I get why people didn't like Eternals either. I think they were kind of a little harsher on it than was fair to rate it as the worst one. But this one, like, I get it.
I'm more okay with this being the worst one than Eternals, personally. Not that I think Eternals is particularly great either.
Well, I think the difference for me, and we'll get to it with our thoughts, I think Eternals succeeds at what it says it's going to do, be kind of a boring-ish kind of movie where everybody's sad at daybreak and then they fight and stuff. Whereas this one sets a lot of really lofty goals that I'm not sure it is able to succeed at. And for that reason, I kind of want to give the benefit of the doubt to Eternals there. But
well, we're getting a little ahead of ourselves, though, talking about how we think about the movie.
Yeah,
and other stuff on the agenda.
Because first we got to talk about the IMDb summary for this movie, which, as a mistake of mine, I already saw. So I am
How dare
going
you?
to
Excommunicado.
I know. I'm going to abdicate my spot to DJ, who is supposed to be doing it because he won last week. By saying the word Die Hard. Which, who knows? Maybe that's what you need for this one, too. I'm not spoiling it.
This feels right, honestly. Last week's win didn't feel like a real win.
Honestly, last week's win on your part was the first time I've lost where I felt like I deserved to lose.
Yeah, because you didn't say Die Hard.
There we go, then. Yeah.
Because I didn't say Die Hard. You know, that's on me. I had all the clues. I could have saved her, Mr. Police.
Exactly. We have to talk about this movie and the summary, which, as we all know, you get the summary for this movie and for all movies, but definitely this one by going, making a little satellite or something. And then the satellite is, you're not supposed to make the satellite, but you do. And then you make it, and then it pulls you into bullshit. And then you come out with the summary, and you're like, is that what this was about? And then you're like, yeah, I think that's why we did all this. You have a summary now. And the summary, sometimes it's a little right, sometimes it's a little wrong, depending on the events of whatever happened when you were in the dimension. I will say, this one does something very strange. It does one thing specifically very strange that I think, I would be surprised if either of you got it, but it's not wrong necessarily. But this thing that it does is pretty wild.
Okay, I was gonna ask: is it more or less correct than the Multiverse of Madness summary?
More correct than that.
Okay.
I don't think. Here's the thing: I don't think anything it says is technically not true.
It's just a weird framing.
Kind of. Yeah, you'll know. You'll understand what I mean when you hear it. But I would like to see either of your takes on it. Okay. So, who goes first, DJ or Diggins? I guess Diggins lost,
we have no
so it's up
rules
to
for
you.
This.
I mean, I lost last week. Do I get to pick?
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, let's go with that.
I have no idea what I'm going to say, so I'll have DJ go first.
Oh, yeah. All right, let's
DJ,
go. Let's go. Okay.
Let's get it.
All right. Okay. I think I know what direction I want to go in this one. Okay. Okay. Scott Lang and Hope Van Dyne, along with Hank Pym, Janet Van Dyne, right? Janet Van Dyne and Cassie Lang are brought to the quantum realm against their will, a strange land where they must defeat an imposing foe.
Okay.
I love
Diggins?
the setting of the Bill and Ted movies, Van Dymus.
Is that what I said?
You said Van Dyne. It's Van Dyne with an N.
You said Van Dyne, and then you're like, you spit out all the other letters that you were thinking about putting it into it. Like it was clear that you were unsure about where it was supposed to go. But yeah, I understood. I'll give you a hint, Diggins. If her name was in it, it doesn't give Janet Van Dyne the wrong name. So don't do that.
Okay.
If the name is in it, it doesn't decide she's a different name than before. It is weird now that I'm thinking about it.
Is that not her name?
No, it is. It's Janet Van Dyne.
Van Dyne.
But you said like Van Dyne's or something. Like you tripped over the end of it, and like it really was like you had all the letters, and then you used the ones you were supposed to use, and then you tripped, and the other letters fell out of your hand.
I better not be penalized for this. This better not be a penalty.
I mean, we'll see. It depends on how close Diggins is. If he does, everything perfectly or like exactly the same as you, and then does that bit better, maybe he won. I don't know.
All
right. Okay. I'm gonna say Scott Lang, resting on his laurels after saving the world with the Avengers, is pulled into a new crisis when his daughter Cassie's new invention gets the two of them and the Pym and Van Dyne family into the mysterious quantum realm.
I really did want to do a tiebreaker, but it would be unfair because DJ did so good.
Damn it.
I will read the summary to you, and I'll be like, it was honestly, and he started, I was like, did he cheat or something? Like, did he read it by accident because he was supposed to be doing it? Okay, here we go. Scott Lang and Hope Van Dyne, along with Hank Pym and Janet Van Dyne, explore the quantum realm, where they interact with strange creatures and embark on an adventure that goes beyond the limits of what they thought was possible. So that beginning part was great. You said the word creatures, and it just got the framing of it much better. Now, I'm sure you guys have noticed the weird thing about the summary. They just leave Cassie out of it completely for no reason. It's not a surprise.
She's not in the... Wait, I'm sorry. Can you read it again?
It is Scott Lang and Hope Van Dyne, along with Hank Pym and Janet Van Dyne, explore the quantum realm. But
see, I included Cassie because I'm a real one.
You did, and so did Diggins. So I couldn't ding you for that, or like that canceled itself out.
Right.
But yeah, for whatever reason, I don't know what Catherine Newton did to the IMDb summary monster, but it was enough to get it written out of the thing. But beyond that, like one flaw of the IMDb summary, I think it was okay, and I think your version of it was very close to that.
I would argue mine's better. But my logic is like, I think they're just going to talk about all of them because they're all in the trailers, but for some reason, the IMDb summary would obfuscate Kang. Even though Kang is all over the trailers, I'm like, I don't think they're going to mention Kang. Because I don't know. I thought that was the thing you were going to say that is absent. That was insane. Like, there's just no Kang. There's just no mention. Yeah. Or like any kind of foe.
That's fair. I had a couple tiebreakers because I have heard a lot of things about this, and I'm just going to ask them to see how you guys are doing.
You want to do a tiebreaker for fun?
Yeah. Pro forma. Let's go.
Okay. First one. When Bill Murray was asked if he wanted to be in this, he called a member of the cast and was like, should I do this? Who did he call?
Well, Diggins go first.
Catherine Newton.
Yes. Really? So weird. Yeah, the child. So that one is
great. Do they like know each other? Do they hang out? Why did he do that?
I don't know.
Does he trust the Gen Zers? Like, they're so smart. They must know.
Also, you know what? That makes more sense than any of the other explanations I can come up with.
I will say, in the research I usually do, which is to say very little, I did actually know the answer to that already.
Okay. Yeah, that was why I was kind of worried about that one, is I'm like, I'm pretty sure I saw that on a talk show or something, so maybe other people know it. I don't know. But
I was going to guess Michael Douglas, but I guess that's like the too obvious one.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, it's just really, I find it really strange.
When I heard it, I was like, is she like his granddaughter or something? But no,
I don't think so.
I'm not even sure they knew each other before this. I don't know why he did that.
Yeah.
Does she even know who Bill Murray is? It's like, who's that? Who's that guy? From Space Jam?
Yeah, she wouldn't even... Is he in which one? Space Jam 2? The only one I've seen? I'm a millennial, or like, I'm a Zoomer? Yeah. He's from that old movie nobody's seen, Space Jam 1.
I don't know, the Gen Zers love Caddyshack.
Oh,
Do they really?
should.
Is that a thing?
No.
I mean,
Jay.
it would be.
No, there's so many random things they like. Apparently, they're like they
That's
love
true.
Friends. It's like, why would you love Friends? That seems like not what you would love. Like that could
Yeah,
totally.
they
be a
got
thing.
really
It's
into
like, yeah, they love
Zoolander for a
Caddyshack.
little bit, apparently. So this is something they
it's
do.
So you never know, right?
Yeah. So here are some of my other ones, because I do think there's a lot of good. Honestly, the trivia may be the best part. What number? I'll tell you this: the number Marvel movie this is somewhat significant to the movie itself. What number movie is this in the MCU?
Oh God, is it 30?
It is not. Diggins?
I'm going to go with 34.
Incorrect. DJ?
Significance of the movie. 28?
No. Diggins?
36.
Incorrect. DJ?
Is it 40?
No. God, no.
I don't know, man.
Somebody was close earlier.
Time
We've
is
gotten
flying.
further
32.
from it.
33.
Incorrect.
30.
Incorrect.
31.
Yes, 31.
Yeah.
Because
Why is
Baskin
it-
Robbins
why is
has
that
31 flavors of ice cream where Scott Lang used to work. And then my other one, and this one I was also worried Diggins or DJ may have heard, is when describing MODOK, Jeff Loveness, the director of the movie, said he was influenced by two characters. First, the character Otto from A Fish Called Wanda, and what classic Simpsons character?
Otto the bus driver.
Just opened up Wikipedia and said 2 autos, please. No, that is
Sideshow Bob.
no. I'll say it's more. It's more of a. It's not like a deep cut, but it's not a player that is a main character. Like, it's not somebody in the intro.
Like Duffman?
Hans Bowman.
No, even more obscure than that. But one I think
Jesus.
people know.
Jasper.
Hank Scorpio?
No, good guess, but that was the other one. Though. I was like, maybe I'll think that one.
Obscure. Is it like a recurring character or a one-off character?
One off, but one of the more memorable one-offs.
Homer's brother.
No, I forgot about that one. DJ.
I have no idea.
Yeah, I think you guys may just not be super familiar with this character. Although it is like people frequently list
is
it
it
as the
Frank
best
Grimes?
Simpsons episode. It is Frank Grimes, yes.
Yeah,
Frank
I got
Grimes,
there. I got there.
Frank Grimes is a worker at the power plant who, for no great reason, Homer like kind of destroys his life, and
Well,
he like curses Homer forever.
it's actually like the funny thing about that episode is Homer doesn't really do anything to him. It's just like
Right,
Frank Grimes
yeah.
is the one person who realizes that Homer is like
Right.
both a huge idiot and has an extremely charmed life, and it drives him crazy.
Yeah, so I can see that as like MODOK in this movie a little bit. He's got a big old chip on his shoulder.
That feels like a stretch. That feels like just something they said because they made them feel smart.
I mean, I haven't even seen A Fish Called Wanda, so I don't know who Otto is, but I think Hank Scorpio would also work, but I do think Hank Scorpio's a little too, like, competent.
Yeah, it's fair.
He does get away in the end, but I think he does. You guys, DJ won, which means
Did.
Diggins, you have to tell us what happens in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania.
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 I saw this 4 days ago, so we'll see how good I remember it. All right, so we open with Scott Lang walking around San Francisco being like, my life's super cool now because I saved the world and everyone loves me. And that guy from I Think You Should Leave shows up. And he thinks
Oh
he's
my god,
Spider-Man.
love him.
Haha, fun. But his daughter Cassie's in jail because she fought back against the police at a protest.
Oh my god.
Oh,
What were they doing? They were
man.
kicking homeless out of a park because we're still bringing up the blip because the
Because it's
blip
the
still
blip.
matters.
That's what happened in San Francisco. That's why there's lots of homelessness and prices are so high for houses.
Yeah, if it wasn't for the blip, there wouldn't be a big homeless problem in San Francisco, and the police wouldn't be clearing out homeless encampments.
Exactly.
But yeah,
But it is, so you don't have to worry about it.
So
in our
he's
real
all like, "Don't fight the police," and she's like, "Why?" And he's like, But they just brush that under the rug, and then they go have dinner at the Pym house, Hank and Janet's house, where she calls Hank Grandpa for some reason.
yeah, what was that?
I don't know. I think they were trying to trick us. I think the movie was incepting us into thinking he is our grandpa. because I don't think a lot of people remember what happens in these movies, especially the Ant-Mans. So I think there were a lot of people that were like, "Oh, I didn't realize, I forgot about that," and they just went with it.
The weird thing is she doesn't call Hope mom or anything, or like stepmom or anything. Like she calls her Hope.
Yep.
Which makes sense because her biological mom is still in the picture and like still is her mom, who I think is Judy Greer, right?
I'm gonna say was, but yes.
Yeah, no one's anything anymore.
I'm not sure if she's still, kicking. Although, maybe, to be fair, maybe Michael Douglas is also her dad in these movies, you know? Maybe it's like we never knew about it, but yeah, exactly.
But yeah, so they're hanging out, and then it turns out Cassie's been working on a project with Hank and Hope because she's a super smart scientist now for no reason.
Well, because she's young in the MCU, and children in the MCU are all super geniuses.
That's true, yeah. So they show off what they've been doing, which is they made a little satellite to send to the quantum realm to gather data. And for some reason, Janet doesn't realize this is sending a signal down to the quantum realm, even though how else could it possibly function? Until they've already turned it on. And she unplugs it, forces it to turn off, but it's too late. A portal opens up and sucks them all into the quantum realm. But the quantum realm is all weird and full of big mushrooms and gross monsters and stuff. That's not what they thought the quantum realm was. But Janet's like, no, it's always been like this. I just didn't tell you for no reason. And I'll continue not to tell you for no reason. About anything that happened down here.
To be fair, Janet hadn't seen Star Wars. That would make this really easy. By the way, it's Star Wars down here. But she didn't know. She never
There's a whole
got it.
Star Wars underneath us. Yeah. Little teeny quantum universe.
Well,
a lot of things in the Marvel Cinematic Universe can be explained by, hey, you know that Star Wars movie? This is like that.
She could have seen the first Star Wars if she was gone for 30 years.
Yeah, but she's not a nerd.
80s.
Yeah, but she didn't go see
She's
Star Wars.
cool.
She's not a fucking loser.
But she's married to a nerd. Maybe he made her.
Yeah, that's true. He probably did make her.
Anyway.
I don't know. It seems like she might wear the pants in that relationship. Not that that's actually a thing. But, like, I could see her being like, I don't care. I'm going to go destabilize Brazil or whatever I do in my spare time. That's like our jobs. I'm going to go ruin Bolivia. You can watch all your stupid Star Wars movies.
They work for the CIA in this one, so yeah, probably a coup.
Yeah.
I gotta go murder Salvador Allende and help Pinochet come to power. That's what she was doing before she quantumed.
Yeah. Honestly, it's pretty good that she quantumed. We got lucky.
But yeah, so they're in the quantum realm. Scott and Cassie are separated from the other three, and they find some weird monsters who make them drink some goo. But the goo makes them able to talk to them, and the monsters are like, some of them are humans, but they're not humans. Don't worry about it. Or like, there's an evil man who's evil to us, and they're like, who is it? And then we cut away. While Janet gets them a big flying monster to fly on, and they go to a bar where Janet sets up a meeting with Bill Murray, but Bill Murray, it turns out, has betrayed them to the mysterious pronoun man. I call him the pronoun
damn pronouns ruining everything, right, Diggins?
Yeah. I say pronoun man because nobody says his name for half of the movie, even though we all know who it is.
They couldn't get the rights until halfway through the movie. They weren't sure.
While that's happening, Scott and Cassie get kidnapped because the mysterious villain's #1 assassin enforcer shows up, MODOK. Except it turns out in this movie, MODOK is the most forgettable MCU villain ever made.
How dare you?
He's not the elf.
Yeah,
Malachi
didn't do all his bullshit to get... Also, I mean, maybe that is how forgettable he is. Is he so forgettable? You forgot he was even in that Marvel Cinematic Universe at all.
Here's the thing. The most forgettable villain is actually the second most forgettable.
Exactly.
Because the most forgettable is memorable for being the most forgettable.
That's right. It's like that X-Man, Forget-Me-Not, whose mutant power is you forget him. So he's never... The X-Men don't know he exists, but he is there. But he's so forgettable that he never comes up.
But yeah, no. Easily one of the least interesting Marvel villains ever made. And that's a competitive category.
Not anymore. But yeah, they figured it back in the day.
Yeah, right? It's less competitive than it used to be.
They seem to have figured it out, but they were still like, let's get that boring guy back for this one. We need more of him.
Yeah, also, his name still means machine or mechanical organism. God, what is it?
It's both. So in the comics, it is both mechanical, mobile, and mental organism designed only for killing.
Okay, I think in this one it's mechanical organism designed.
It is, yeah.
Despite that being his name, I'm pretty sure he doesn't kill a single person in the entire movie.
But
He
everyone's
did, but you
him.
couldn't see it because he's the same color as the background. There's a whole scene where he's killing everybody, and we just never know.
That's probably true. But yeah, it turns out he's Darren / Yellow Jacket from the first Ant-Man with the worst CGI effect on his face I've ever seen. And he kidnaps Scott and Cassie and brings them to space prison with force fields.
Yep.
The other three escape after Bill Murray betrays them. They steal his ship and fly away. And Janet finally tells them anything at all about what's happening, which is that when she was in the quantum realm, she found some dude who also got stuck in the quantum realm, and they work together to escape because they both want to go back, and he has a ship that can do that. And this guy, his name is Kang. You might know him from a little show called Loki.
But
And
it's
also,
very possible, according to Disney, none of you watched it.
yes, but you also might know him from a little thing called every single promotional material made for this movie. All of them, every single one.
Yeah, and you also may know him from all those listicles from 2 years ago.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, so they work for a long time. They eventually fix this ship's power source, and they're able to go back. But the ship has like a neural link to Kang, and when Janet touches it, she finds out that he's big evil and does lots of evil stuff. And she's like, oh no, I helped an evil man. So she...
And not the good evil, like the Bolivia evil.
Yeah,
Bad evil. Inexcusable crimes.
Yeah, in many of these realities, he killed Americans. That's bad.
That's right. Yeah. He works for Space Bolivia or something. He's coming for revenge.
Yeah, no, so it's like, he's like the one from Loki described. He destroys timelines, kills like whole universes and realities to like prune threats to him. So he's like killed like literally trillions of people. So pretty bad. Not a great dude. So Janet...
Yeah, I don't trust him.
Yeah, so Janet takes the power source and blows it up, literally. She puts big growth Pym particles on it, so it gets super big and he can't use it. And that's what happened. That's what happened.
Yep.
Meanwhile, Kang goes to Scott and Cassie in prison and says, Ant-Man, you have Pym particles. Even though I'm super advanced from the future and have all this wild tech that you can't even understand, I can't make Pym particles for some reason. So I need you to steal this thing for me. And I say steal, you're not really stealing it from anyone. This is really just a very loose way to kind of connect it to the whole heist theme we supposedly have with these movies. But you really just have to go there and take it. There's no one you're stealing it from. It's mine to begin with. I don't know why I used the word steal. He says
because
all of
the
that,
movie does.
all of those words when he's describing this. Scott says, no, I won't do it. And Kang goes, I'll kill Cassie if you don't. And Scott goes, no, okay, I'll do it. So he does it, which involves kind of a trippy scene of, well, I say it's supposed to be trippy. It's not really that trippy the way they do it, but it's a probability space around the core of this power source. Well, a phrase that they decided if they say enough times, we'll accept is real.
Yep.
Which basically just splits him off into a bunch of different Ant-Man. And working together with Wasp, when she comes in and splits up into a bunch of different Wasps, they shrink the power source down and they're able to take it. Kang comes in and he's like, you know how the interesting thing about me earlier was it seemed like I genuinely would have helped Janet if she had agreed to let me leave, and that was like kind of the interesting moral dilemma there. Well, now I'm going to betray you for no reason. I'm going to keep Cassie. Goodbye.
Yep.
But thankfully, it turns out there's super intelligent ants that also got sucked into the quantum realm that got briefly mentioned at the beginning of the movie, and they got set like 1,000 years in the past or whatever, and so they've built up a hyper advanced civilization in that time, which Hank is able to talk to them, and since he's basically their god, they're like, yeah, we'll help you. So they go to free Cassie and stop Kang from escaping back into the non-quantum realm. They do Cassie
The realm, as we call it.
The realm, yeah, just the realm. They help Cassie escape. Cassie goes and frees the characters we met briefly earlier in the movie and never showed up again. And it's like, you should do a revolution. And they're like, all right. And then she gives a speech.
We never thought of that before.
Never thought of that before. And she does a speech over the quantum PA system that's like...
She saw Andor.
She saw it.
Yeah, right?
Oh, God. Sorry. You just making that comparison made me think about the vast gulf between the politics of this movie and that show, and I just got really sad.
I thought you liked Andor.
I do. I'm saying, like, God, it is the same seed, but it's so much worse and hollow, and it makes me sad.
Oh, wait. DJ, I think I understand. He doesn't like this movie.
Oh,
Yeah,
shoot.
I
Okay.
misread it.
Oh,
That
I
makes more
see.
sense. Yeah.
There we go.
My fault.
But anyway.
Yeah, sorry to spoil that one for all you fine listeners out there. You only had my opinion on every other Ant-Man movie to go on.
And most Marvel movies released post Infinity War or Endgame.
I was going to say, that's not true, but it might be. Yeah, she goes on the quantum PA system and tells all the citizens, Kang is a bad man and you should fight him. And they're all like, you know what? You're right. We should fight him. He is a bad man.
No one ever told us that before.
No one ever told us that he's a bad man. But now that you mention it...
We need a 15-year-old to be like, hey, he bad.
Mm-hmm.
So they all go and fight, and his army is overwhelmed by everybody. But then Kang comes down and is like, I'm tired of this. And he's super powerful, so he
I get
kills a
that.
bunch of people.
Very relatable, Kang.
He kills a bunch of people, and they're like, oh no, we can't beat Kang because he's personally very powerful. And that was really the problem the whole time.
Yeah.
Fortunately, it turns out Kang has one weakness: ants.
Yep.
Yeah, he never considered ants.
In what is basically a serious version of when Squirrel Girl fought Doctor Doom.
Mm-hmm.
He gets overwhelmed by ants who, like, start tearing him apart. And for a second, I thought they really had a man devoured alive on screen by ants, and I was like, that's kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, that's not what happens. Also, MODOK turns on Kang in, I think, the least justified character turn in possibly the entire MCU.
Oh, that's another really tight category.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to think about that. But for now, I'm going to say I'll allow it.
This one's pretty unjustified.
See, again, and it's really hard because there's so many. I do think there is one. Like, I think there's one specific one that's pretty rough, but I don't remember what it is.
How about Ragnarok, the Carl Urban's character?
Yeah, that one's pretty bad.
I
That
feel
one
like
is
they at least
pretty
set
bad.
that up a little, where he looks at stuff Hela is doing and is like, maybe this isn't so great. This one comes out of nowhere.
How about Monica at the end of WandaVision being cool
Oof,
with Wanda's
that's another
bullshit
really good one.
for no good reason?
Yeah,
That's the best I can think
Hey,
of off the top
you
of
lost
my head.
someone. I get it.
Yeah, that's not
Yeah.
a great one either.
What about the third episode of Falcon and Winter Soldier where the Flag Smasher bombs that hospital for no reason?
Okay. Yeah, you know what? That
Or the end of that show when John Walker is good again for no reason.
Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, Falcon and
Most
Winter
of the
Soldier
character
takes
arcs
it.
in that show.
Yeah. You got me. All right, this one's pretty bad, though.
Yeah. It's rough.
Anyway, they're like, well, we did it. Kang got eaten alive by ants, and everything's fine, so we're going to go home. And they turn on the portal home, but Kang is alive, and he wants to use the portal, so only Scott is left, and he has a big fist fight with Kang, because most of Kang's technology broke, but he's still Jonathan Majors, who's big and
He's so
strong.
fucking yoked.
He's 2013 or 2023 Jonathan Majors, the most dangerous one yet.
Yes.
The one that's
whereas-
doing that
The other
bodybuilder
variants
movie in
we don't
Creed.
know yet.
Yeah.
What about like 2077 Jonathan Majors?
Whereas Scott is still Paul Rudd, who, while a handsome man, does not do the insane training regimen that many other MCU actors do.
Yeah, he had to be explained
not
how to
required
punch in
of
the
him.
first one of these movies, and it seems like between movies he plays Rock Band and like flings things across his room. So like I don't think he's been working out that much since then.
Honestly, I respect that. I'm glad.
Hell yeah.
I'm glad we got one who doesn't have to be a big muscle hunk.
I mean, the alternative is, like, he has no personality, and we'll get to it, but I think giving him a single thing to do in his spare time really helps turn him into an actual character, or at least the shadow of a character.
Yeah, but, yeah, he loses the fist fight, but he's like, aha, I didn't have to win the fist fight. I just had to make sure you didn't go in the portal. And he blows up the power source. And Kang is like, no. But then he almost makes it anyway. But then Wasp comes out and shoots him a bunch. And that stops him from getting through the portal. And instead he gets sucked into the power source core. And is he dead? Maybe. I don't know. The movie's intentionally vague on this point. Remember Kingpin at the end of Hawkeye? It's like that.
Oh, God.
Yeah, it is like that.
Anyway,
really
the movie...
is.
The movie basically doesn't even pretend that they're going to be stuck in the quantum realm. They're just immediately brought back. Cassie opens up a new portal, and they're like, Ant-Man and Wasp are not even surprised by this turn of events. They're just like, yeah, we knew that was going to happen.
I mean, that makes sense. I you know.
And don't worry about time dilation. It's fine. It's totally
it
fine.
turns out that doesn't happen now. There was only the one time.
And the ants.
And the ants.
It happened to the ants.
Yeah, but otherwise it doesn't happen. Yeah, they go back home. Everything's good. Scott's all like, everything's perfect now. But wait, Kang said a bad thing was going to happen if he didn't get out. Is a bad thing going to happen? Did I doom the entire universe? Whatever. I'm not going to think about it. And that's the end of the movie.
It's very relatable. The most relatable part of the movie for me.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then there's 2 post-credit scenes. One is the Council of Ricks talking about how they're going to they're going to destroy the MCU reality because they fought 2 Kangs now. And they're like, that's too many Kangs. And then the second one is Loki and Mobius from the Loki show being like, we found a Kang. And that's it.
You know what's crazy? That was the loudest pop during the movie for me. And I was in a full theater. When Hiddleboy came up on the screen and all the Hiddle stands went wild, that was like the biggest pop during the whole fucking movie. I could not believe it.
What else would it have been for?
Him.
The ants? MODOK?
Yeah. I think you should leave, guy.
Yeah.
He was my big one.
A steering wheel that doesn't fly off the handle.
Yeah, if only Kang had a steering wheel that didn't fly off that thing. Then he would have
Fly
been
out the
okay.
window when you drive, yeah.
Yeah, and you know who fucked over Kang?
If only he wasn't modeled on Elon Musk.
Oh, and mother-in-law fucked over Kang. That was really the problem. His mother-in-law got trapped in the quantum realm.
Oh, yeah. But he loves his mother-in-law, so he couldn't take action against her.
Exactly. That was cool.
But yeah, that's the end of the movie. DJ, as our winner, you get to tell us what you think about it first.
Oh my gosh, guys. I did not care for this movie, and I don't know that I'll have a unique opinion here, and I'll try and keep it brief because I don't want to belabor, and I kind of want to talk about some of the crazy stuff in the movie, but I think it's weird that Kang was in this movie. This movie shouldn't have been Kang. It should have been another just random quantum realm bugaboo, and they could have had a quantum realm adventure and just leave Kang out of it. It was so weird how much of an Ant-Man movie this wasn't. Like, you know, where's all the fun, like, Michael Pena stuff? And where's the other little side characters that are just, like, fun and bringing us through our adventure here? It felt so just disconnected from everything. It didn't even feel like an MCU movie because this shouldn't be an MCU thing. I don't know. I was very much let down by this movie. I must say, unfortunately. It's bad, and I did not like it. And guys, we can talk about this further. I'm a little worried about the MCU. Maybe my DCEU prediction that's coming that was like 2 years too early may come to fruition. I think it's possible, man.
I don't know. Some things have leaked from test screenings of the new Aquaman movie, and the poll quote is the worst DCEU movie ever made.
Maybe they're all bad. Maybe just all of them are bad now. But
I think there's a shot it's that. Yeah, I mean...
I'm fucking worried.
There's that other movie they refused to advertise for no good reason, so also not a great sign. And then there's The Flash, the greatest thing ever put to cinema screens.
The movie nothing can stop. Also, I'm honestly not sure I believe that Aquaman thing, because, again, competitive category.
Yeah, and the way the person describes it doesn't make any sense. They're like, Aquaman 2 sucks because it's incoherent and a bunch of sci-fi bullshit, just like the first one. And it's like, I think that's the thing we liked about the first one, so I don't think this guy gets it. That being said, I could see it being more I don't know. I've taken that one with a grain of salt.
They probably interviewed a Snyderverse guy, and he's like, there's no Batman or Superman in this. Nobody's compared to Jesus even once. This is
true.
Bullshit.
And this is the one that was going to have Batman. They kept changing the Batman, and now there's probably no Batman in it. But yeah, so that would have really gotten under his craw.
As to your point, DJ, I feel like I know he's the negative zone and not the quantum realm, but this really feels like a movie custom built for a nihilist.
Yeah, fair. And like they could change stuff like that. They change stuff like that all the time. They changed Taskmaster. Maybe they changed MODOK. They changed MODOK. So like, yeah, it could be so many different things. But like, it shouldn't be Kang. And like, should make it the quantum realm. But not this. This was so misguided.
The Annihilus thing is interesting because not only is it custom built for Annihilus, it's custom built for the Fantastic Four. Like, having a character have to flirt with the leader of the civilization to get information is very Sue Storm Namor. Like, there's a lot of beats in here that you're like, yeah, that could be how this goes in a Fantastic Four movie. But.
And it somehow makes this movie nothing, at least of all an Ant-Man movie. Like, say what you will about, like, the Ant-Man movies. I know people don't like them. Like, at least the first one, like, does have a charm to it that, like, and it's probably because, like, there were like 8 different, cool directors involved in it that were canned.
Yeah, everybody in Hollywood had a piece.
But like the retelling the story scene, like that's super fun. And like I do like this stuff like with like Michael Pena. Like I think there's like some good stuff there, but here there's like there's not much to enjoy. I must say.
There's Quaz. There's Blafto or whatever.
Man.
Yep, Beamhead guy.
Man.
All those great guys.
He's fucking cool.
All your favorites.
I know the name Krylar. There's Krylar, yeah.
Fucking love Krylar.
So, some good,
There's
some
ants.
bad. There are
love ants.
They finally delivered on that one good advertisement.
I guess if you love ants, this movie's for you. You're like, fucking finally.
Well,
that's what I thought I was getting with Ant-Man.
Well, honestly, for a movie called Ant-Man, very few ants.
Yeah.
But ants matter so much. Like
that's true.
I feel it's like the thing at the end of the Suicide Squad. If you loved rats, you're like, you're a fucking rats.
That was another thing where I watched the movie and was like, cool, I watched that other movie do this way better too.
You see, little one, ants are everywhere. And everyone discounts the little rat. The little ant. Damn it!
Wow. I mean, first of all, just absolutely butchering that speech.
I think I'm killing it in several ways.
And also, I can't remember what accent Taika was going for in that scene, but it wasn't his normal accent. So I can't say yours is off, but I don't think it was on either.
They're supposed to be Portuguese. I wouldn't say that's where Taika's accent lands.
No, yeah.
But I think that's what he's going for.
Mm-hmm. What was that speech? I can't remember.
Everyone discounts the little rat. No one thinks the rats can do it.
No,
that's the Zack Snyder version of the speech.
Yeah,
where the characters say the metaphor.
The speech is his daughter asks him, "Papa, why rats?" And he says, "Rats are the lowliest and most looked down upon of creatures. If they can have value, so can we all."
That's right, yeah.
So to replace ants with that for this movie and then, crush it.
I mean, yeah, I feel like it's funny because that's always how these movies end. The ants fix it. So it's interesting that this movie thought that was a novel concept to end the movie on. But, it could be that they just finished the script and were like, oh shit, we didn't put ants in. So they added them.
Could be.
Where it was convenient.
Well, DJ, any further thoughts?
No, that's it. Yeah, I'm good. I hope you like my impressions. They're so fun, right?
Yeah.
I mean, now that I think about it, I feel like his character sounded French.
That's what I was going for.
I think that works. Honestly, now I don't think DJ was too far off.
Oh my god,
the words
thank
were
you.
Bad, but like not bad, but the words were incorrect. But the accent might have been probably okay. It's kind of like with what's her name with little Kate Bishop, where you listen to her and you're like, this is horrible, and then real accent people are like, nah, it's okay. And it's like, I guess it's okay.
Much obliged. I feel vindicated.
Not Kate Bishop. I meant the other one. Duh. Yelena.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. That would be funny, though, if, like, Haley Steinfeld was a Russian actor doing an American accent, and we just never knew. Man, she's really crushing
she's very good, yeah.
Yeah. I see why she keeps getting cast.
So it's
who's
my
next?
turn.
Yeah,
Yes, Diggins. Tell us what you think of this
Ant-Man
fantastic
Quantumania
movie, or whatever.
So, you may have seen I did a tweet earlier this week.
Oh, yeah.
You tweeted?
Yeah, where I said that Quantumania is the have a cola and smile bitch scene from Sorry to Bother You, but without the satire.
I kind of remember that scene, but not super well. Can you explain?
Sure. So, Have a Cola and Smile Bitch is a scene, or a couple scenes in Sorry to Bother You, where the main character is breaking a picket line, like to go into work while most of the workers are on strike. And so a protester in the crowd shouts that at him and throws a soda can at his head, which becomes a meme. Which quickly becomes, like, goes viral. The girl who threw the can becomes kind of famous, and she ends up doing a commercial for, like, a soda company that's her, like, doing the can throw, and then the tagline for the soda company is have a cola and smile, bitch.
Yeah.
So what I mean by that is this movie likes to pretend that it is down with the revolution. Like I pointed out in the summary, or in the description of the movie's events, it starts with Cassie going, she got arrested because she fought the cops at a protest, and it's like, the cops are trying to clear out a homeless encampment, which is bad. Dad, you did some cool stuff, but all you really did was defend the status quo. There's lots of people who actually need help under the current system, and you don't do anything to help them. And Scott's like, because that's a true and salient criticism of the politics of the MCU, that I was like, they actually included that. And here's the thing about Ant-Man movies. They're not technically, like on a technical level, the worst MCU movies, but they all have this very specific writing thing they do that feels designed to make me personally mad.
That makes sense.
Which is that they refuse to give any of their characters, especially Scott, actual flaws, but they keep acting like they do. Like the first one is all about how he's a screw-up ex-con who needs to, get his life together to be there for his daughter. But he's already a good dad. He went to jail for good reasons. And he's just like he doesn't have to change in that movie. He's already a good guy. It's purely physical barriers to him seeing his daughter. So he doesn't have to learn anything. The second movie is setting it up like, oh man, Scott's trying to have it all. Be a good friend to his buddies, be there for Hank and Janet, and also be a cool superhero. And he can't do all of those things. Those things come into conflict with each other. He needs to learn to... he has to decide what is important to him and prioritize those things. And then the end of the movie is his daughter telling him that he is cool and good enough to have whatever he wants with no consequences. And then he just does it. And this movie starts with what I just described. His daughter telling him, like, you just defend the status quo, and, like, people actually need help, and you're not doing anything about it. And then he doesn't change. Nothing happens with that.
Yep.
He only does things when his family is directly threatened. He only does stuff for Cassie and Hank and Janet. He explicitly, when it is an impersonal struggle for him, is like, hey man, I feel bad for you guys, but this isn't my business. And he only decides it's his business when he is personally involved in it. So it's not like he learned something. And then at the end of the movie, his daughter's like, you are a cool and strong hero who looks after the little guy. And I'm like, what are you talking about? He didn't learn anything.
Yeah.
So that's why these movies... So that's why I say it's like that without the satire. That is a scene about how revolutionary or like or critiques of capitalism are subsumed by capital itself and become part of the machine. This person was protesting and, performing an act of violence against a person who she saw as protecting a corrupt status quo. People thought it was fun just because it was a funny thing that happened, and it went viral because people thought it was funny, and then she becomes rich and famous and works with the cola company, a big, capitalist corporation, because they can just subsume anything that's supposed to be critical of them they can just package it and sell it back to you, and you're like, cool. And to a certain degree, I think like some people say that about like Andor, and I'm like, it's very real and sincere about its politics, and like actually gets down into the causes and roots of it. And like I can understand if you're like, but it's still Disney selling this, so how pointed can it really be? Like I get that, but it's at least a real artistic like achievement. Right? This is so hollow. It's nothing. It's the aesthetic and nothing else.
I mean, there's very few things being sold to you by not one of the 8 remaining major companies, so unless you're going to critique all media like that, like, you know.
I mean, and not that it doesn't deserve that critique, but I'm just saying.
Well, yeah.
And the aesthetic is bad. So, can't even hawk onto that.
So anyway, also...
Nando loved it. You're gonna zag?
Yeah, we'll see.
Also, they won't let Janet do anything bad either. They spend half the movie pretending that she did bad stuff while she was here, and then it turns out she just helped a person without realizing it was bad, and as soon as she did the right thing, so actually she's not bad either. It's all just like, no, they don't. They are so terrified of you not liking a character for a single goddamn second.
Yeah.
When the story would be so much stronger if they did make decisions that were like, I am prioritizing my own personal comfort and safety over the safety and lives of others, realizing that's wrong, and then trying to fix it. But nobody ever actually does that. Janet doesn't do it. Scott doesn't do it because he says no when Kang makes his offer, and then only agrees under duress when he's going to literally kill his daughter, so that's not really him like making a bad decision. Yeah. And he doesn't willingly hand the thing over anyway, because Kang just steals it. It's like, God, the Ant-Man movies are so close to getting it, and then they just don't. And that's what makes me so mad about them.
I think Peyton Reed hates you specifically. I think he knows this angers you and hates you.
Yeah, what did you do to Peyton Reed?
Yeah.
I did hit him.
Did you say, I wish Edgar Wright was doing these.
I did.
Or Adam McKay.
I did say that. I did hit him once with my car in a movie theater parking lot, so that might be why.
Okay.
Anyway,
that explains it.
That's my rant about Ant-Man. I'm back to funny jokes now. Nando, what did you think of this movie?
Well, okay. I would love to someday work for Marvel, so I just want to say Guardians 3 looks fantastic. I really think James Gunn knows what he's doing with these, and like the aesthetic looks fun. He's very emotional. I feel like I'm excited for Adam Warlock. I don't really know what he's going to be doing. And you know what? We haven't seen barely anything from Secret Invasion. I don't think it's real, but if it comes out, I'm pretty excited for that too. Because Sam Jackson really knows how to make these work. And I think Paul Rudd is a good person.
Paul Rudd is super charming.
So the wheel,
even in material I don't like, Paul Rudd is a charming actor.
Yeah, it's tough, man. He's so watchable. They're testing the limits of Paul Rudd watchability, and they're getting close. They almost got it.
They really are.
Almost broken through the Rubicon. But yeah, no, this movie is not very good, and I think the story is not very good, obviously, but I would excuse that. This movie really made me appreciate Ant-Man 2, because Ant-Man 2 isn't incredible either, but it is at least fun to watch. I do think the fight scenes in Ant-Man 2 are pretty good, and like the action in general, the look of most of it is pretty good, and it's got some humor I enjoyed. This movie has some humor. I like it with one or two things I was like, that's pretty funny. But man, I just cannot get over the decision to put this movie in the quantum realm and make the quantum realm and decide the quantum realm doesn't work the way we thought it did, but so we get whatever. We could do whatever we want and then make it look the way that they did. I mean, honestly, I think Peyton Reed is trying to get me, because not only did he do MODOK the way he did, he got William Jackson Harper out of Mr. Fantastic contention forever.
Yeah.
No.
And like, I think that is far more of a personal attack. Like, I think, and I think in general, it feels like they looked at the things that the people liked about the first couple of Ant-Man movies and like said, well, obviously we're not going to do that. Like, not even just the shrinking, but like hey, he has a good relationship with his wife's new husband. That's fun. That's interesting about him. Let's make sure neither of those characters are in the movie at all or referenced. In fact, let's kind of try to like, gaslight you into thinking they don't exist. Like, that's weird. I thought Kang was okay, but I do think the more time I sit with it, the more I'm like, he's just kind of fun to watch because the actor's good, but he doesn't belong in the movie. And also, I agree. I agree with Diggins. I also about the kind of the not making him a flawed character. I also think the movie, it's almost like, I don't think they're doing these, or like, I don't think they're doing this intentionally, but it seems like this movie is designed to be missed. And what I mean is, like, if you didn't see this movie, I don't think you're going to miss any information.
Yep.
Like, your Ant-Man is where he started. Cassie, all of them are where they started pretty much. She has an Ant-Man suit, so, you know, that's new. The quantum realm is pretty much where it's about as the same as what we thought it was before. The villain from the first one, or like the villain that's in it, and then the callback guy from the first one, neither of them are going to matter in the future, or at least not in this capacity. I doubt Kang's motivation in future movies is going to be, I really want to get Ant-Man. So, like, it's so strange how much work this movie does to make it not matter at all. And I think this is a weird start to Phase 5. I don't think it's a bad start to Phase 5 because I don't think the phases matter that much, but like, I do think it's bad to market it as the start for Phase 5 because that sets some expectations about Phase 5 that I don't think people are super thrilled with. Mm-hmm. And it's not very good. I do think but it does really make me appreciate Ant-Man 1 and 2. I think they're better now.
Definitely 1. I appreciate 1 so much more.
I think 2 is pretty fun. Like in the, like, just the action. I think that car chase scene is great. And I think the scene where Wasp beats up all those guys in the kitchen is better than anything in this movie.
Yeah.
In just being like a thing that someone storyboarded and wrote with an idea, and then they did really good CGI to make it work, and then it did. I will say, in fairness, this does feel like the last Chapek movie. From what we hear about these movies now,
yeah,
it does seem like there's a difference between Chapek and Iger in just general, not like philosophy, but like management style or like, you know, directive. And the Chapek directive was get as many things out as possible and they will make money. And the Iger directive seems to be, let's slow this down a little bit. So this doesn't really make me like dislike Feige or anything like that. I want to say, I thought I saw an interview or something where someone said that Chapek tried to fire Kevin Feige.
Wait, really?
Recently? Yeah. Like, not, he did it recently, but that came out recently.
Yeah.
I'm not positive about that, but, like, that feels
That
right.
would have been insane. That would have been, like, crazy.
Exactly. And it's back to the Perlmutter days, honestly, like, and maybe Chapek was good at some things and not others, but, like, man, I'm excited. I'm interested to see. Like I said, I don't think Guardians really will be affected by this because it does seem competent in a way that this one maybe wasn't. So I think Marvel's is going to be the first time we see a movie like this and go, oh yeah, they got it together. This was a producer level problem, but it's going to be a while.
The only reason I don't want to give it that pass is because I think that might have been true with the TV show or like the Disney Plus streaming shows where he really wanted the library to be like insane, no matter the cost.
Yeah.
I think even if it's like in Iger, the other Bob who's doing this, I think this movie still has the same problems because I think it suffers from all this stuff that Diggins kind of talked about. That these movies kind of have a fundamental problem that they'll never be great. They can be good at best, and at worst, they could be horrible.
I guess my thought about that is like kind of, but also I feel like if they had another couple of months, they wouldn't need to. I mean, they could have polished up some of the CGI, which would always be nice. I did hear there was a report that came out that the CGI artists were like, yeah, they rushed us. And we were like, this isn't done. And they were like, we don't care. So that's not great. Also, is this the most ADR-able character in the MCU? Because he's wearing a helmet almost all the time and we never see his face when he's talking. So I do think they could have gone through and just had him say a couple of things differently that would have made the movie work better as a piece with some sort of functional message and symbolism and whatever. Any of those things. Like, I think this movie could be punched up very easily. But I just don't think that was it doesn't seem like that was something that was super important to them.
Okay.
But it also sucks that these movies always have been connected in a way. But, like, I do think this movie is so disconnected from everything else that I think you could have delayed it to, you know, I don't know, right before Loki came out, and it would probably still work with all the other stuff. So it's not
Well,
even
is
like
it-
this had to go before Guardians. I don't think that's...
Well,
yeah.
the problem...
Well, the sequencing was messed up because of COVID, right? Like, this wasn't supposed to be the Phase 5 kickoff.
Right, it was supposed to be earlier.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying is, like, I think they could have delayed this easily further into, like, April.
Right.
And then maybe taken, like, Little Mermaid and just decided not to. But then instead they like kept it here, and it's like we had all the time. It would have been very easy to mess around with some of this, and it doesn't need to come out at this exact date.
Well,
for any story reason.
The problem, Nando, is that every MCU movie from this point forward features at least one character going, if Ant-Man hadn't killed Kang, maybe, then none of this would have happened.
Yeah, that's true. And they're right. Ant-Man is the new... Ant-Man isn't fault in this universe. Mm-hmm. He is the new Infinity Stones.
Yep. They have to collect the 7 Ant-Men to solve the problem.
I mean, listen, there's at least 4. Plus Wasp and Cassie and the other Wasp. So we could do 7 Ant people. For sure. We just have to start doing them, which they probably won't. You guys, I have a wheel.
Oh, a wheel.
Is the wheel big or small?
Well, it's humongous. It's one of the biggest wheels ever. It was a normal wheel, but they shot it with discs enough that it just did some I don't know. But now it's this. So I'm going to spin the wheel, and we're going to talk about some of the specific things about the wheel. I spun the wheel, you guys. It landed on one of mine. This one really fucking blew my mind.
Okay.
It is, hey guys, they fixed all the Ant-Man problems a few minutes ago. Do you remember the beginning of this movie where they're like, and Hope's crushing it because she used shrinking particles to like solve world hunger and stuff? Like... What? That was the whole first 2 movies, and also you didn't. You can't have. It's impossible.
Yeah, right.
Like, and why bother? Who cares? They don't have to. They can just still not. They didn't want to before. What changed?
Oh man,
what changed is that some people online were like, "This movie's dumb because they didn't do that," and.
It is quite dumb.
Bob Chapek had a meltdown, was like, people are being mean about us online. Fix this now.
Yeah. I mean, it is, man, like, just baffling that the movie says that, and then we still have homelessness and stuff. Like, and I get maybe that you can't shrink the, people without homes, but, like, I assumed the whole thing with, like, ant particles was that you could just take food and grow it and then eat it, because that's what they do. So, like... economies should be fucking destroyed. We should be in Star Trek level, like everything's different now. And it's just one line that does not need to be there, but it is. And it is one of the weirdest things to me about this movie. When that happened in the theater, I was like, oh my God. But
wasn't
why?
there a movie with Matt Damon where the premise was like you became tiny because like with whatever money you had, you'd be like a bajillionaire?
Oh, yeah.
I'm pretty sure
I mean, listen, you could absolutely shrink all the unhoused people. Like, that is an option, but I don't think it's the option that... I mean, it might be the option the MCU would take, but I don't think it's the option Wasp would approve. Especially not this Wasp, because she's perfect.
Isn't that movie
She's
Jason
never done anything
Sudeikis?
wrong. No, so this is confusing. So that show is
There's
called
2 of
Shrinking.
these?
No. Well, maybe there's a Jason Sudeikis movie, but Jason Sudeikis has a new show called Shrinking. The Matt Damon movie is called Downsizing. The Jason Sudeikis show is just about a psychiatrist. Unless there's also a movie where Jason Sudeikis shrinks. But I kept seeing that as like the new Shrinking show. And I'm like, wait, what?
Okay. Jason Sudeikis is in the Matt Damon movie, but Matt Damon is the main character.
Okay.
That's why I was confused.
So Jason Sudeikis is in both Downsizing and Shrinking. Maybe they're connected. Maybe it's a prequel. I don't know. But yeah, you could totally do it. I mean, that's what they do in the Criminals in the Marvel comics. They have the little tiny prison that they shrink the criminals down that are super criminals and put them in the prison. So even if they break out, they can't destroy the whole planet. I think it's called the Anthill.
Oh.
No. Well, yes, the Anthill is one of them. The Anthill is just a big anthill, and the prison is policed by ants. But there's one before that. It's a level in Marvel Snap. It's the Big House is the one where... It's the name, I believe, of that prison. So it's not something they've never thought of. It's a very comics Hank Pym idea, but not a very movie Hank Pym idea.
Right.
But it is something. But yeah. So I hope in the next movie, I hope in like the Marvels. Nope, that one doesn't take place on Earth. I hope in Secret Invasion, Nick Fury is just growing and shrinking randomly because he could, because it's an option that he's just like, yeah. I mean, obviously I will.
Yeah, and
but
honestly, having them do this is worse than having them not do it. Because if they don't do it, you could, like, online criticism person can be like, oh, why don't they do it? It was stupid. And reasonable people can be like, because it's a fucking movie. They don't want to change the world.
Well, and that was the whole first movie was like, our technology will fall into the wrong hand, which, like, I don't think it will, Hank Pym, but also, that's just what that guy thinks. And he's never had his mind changed. No one has done any work in the first two movies to be like, you actually should share this technology. So, like, it is completely consistent with what this character has done before.
Right.
I really feel like they they held the button on Hank Pym for 10 seconds and turned him on again and off again, because he is a different guy in this movie.
I don't hate him.
I like him more too. I think he's nice.
Now that he's a grandpa,
but
it really changes you.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. But yeah, I spun the wheel again, you guys, and landed on another one of mine. This one says, never go into the quantum realm. I mean, because this is not the first time characters have gone into the quantum realm.
I know.
Since Janet came back from the dead or whatever. They do it at the end of that movie. Nobody gives a shit. Like, what happened?
They're all about
Wasn't Janet part of the experiment where they were sending Scott into the quantum realm?
Yeah, she was there.
They're all there and they get snapped.
Yeah, and that's how he gets stuck.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's not a big deal. It's fine. I mean, it's not. Like, Kang's in there now, but, like, it shouldn't be a big deal. Or it should have been a big deal then.
Maybe it was a different part of the quantum realm. You know, like, they went to the destabilized quantum realm, but the first time it was, like, the okay, like, the nice quantum realm.
I mean, perhaps. I imagine
quantum realm.
When Scott was talking to them over a radio, that counts as sending a signal to the quantum realm. But maybe not. I don't know. It is like this movie just forgot a bunch of things that happened in previous movies. Like, that one's a big one.
Well, because it knew we wouldn't remember.
Others. That's true.
So it doesn't matter.
Yeah, you really can't say anything in these Ant-Man movies and say, I guess so. I don't know.
I guess
you can
that
replace
happens.
actors. Yeah. Oh, really? Don Cheadle is in this one, too, as Hank. Cool. Good for him. It's weird that it hasn't come up, but I buy it. I spun the wheel again, you guys. This is one of DJ's. Where is Michael Pena?
Where is Michael Pena?
Where is Michael Pena?
I do think that, like, the little ex-con family that is part of these first two Ant-Man movies is genuinely enjoyable. I like them, and I think they help flesh out the movie to, like, make it seem like it takes place in the real world.
Yes.
Like, when Michael Pena is, like, freaking out about the ant suit, and it's like, oh, right, it's not just, like, this isolated, you know, superhero world where nothing else is really happening. It's like, it's part of the real world. And this movie, well, it's entirely the quantum realm, so it gets disqualified there. But, like, I don't know how you put Michael Pena in this movie, but put him in the movie.
I mean, they managed to get Jimmy Woo in this movie briefly.
That's true.
Yeah.
I don't see why Michael Pena couldn't be in the beginning, just kind of saying all that stuff that Scott is saying instead.
Yeah, right?
Like, I want to know what happened. Like, I think Michael Pena might have a reason. I don't know.
I feel like it would be funnier if the book was Michael Pena's book about being Ant-Man's best friend.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. And just one run-on sentence. That would be great. And he doesn't even need to be in it. You could have an actual audiobook reader reading the audiobook in the car, and we could just hear that from another person, and then be like, that would be a funny gag. But yeah, it is weird that he's not in it. It's not that weird that T.I.'s not in it, but it's weird that he's not.
Well, you see...
I just feel this movie misses the point of what an Ant-Man movie is.
Well, you see, DJ, now that Ant-Man is rich and famous, he doesn't have time for his old friends anymore.
Right.
True.
And that was the thing, is they were broke in the second and first movie, too. And that was interesting. And that was why they had to, like, do all the jobs and stuff. But now it's fine. He goes to the world premiere of something. I don't know. It's pretty dumb. I mean, as much as I miss Michael Pena, and I do, and it's weird. Obviously, what's his name is still in it, David Polka Dot Man. He is the Goo Boy, but I do kind of miss his character. I think he's fun. But it's so much weirder to me that Judy Greer isn't in the movie, because Cassie's her mom. Like, we're spending time with Cassie. At least have a phone call where she's like, Scott, she's taking on you, and you gotta make her a good girl.
Yeah.
Or something. Like, and then...
Where's Bobby Cannavale?
Right. Where is she?
Our
was
favorite.
In jail, right? He works at jail. Can't he have helped? get her out or something? Like, I just don't get it. It's so weird.
I'm gonna say two things
It really
here.
is.
One, you said that Cassie's her mom, which implies some really weird family dynamics.
Time travel makes a lot of things possible that would not be thought possible before.
Two, also, doesn't she... Like, they say a line about, like, you know, when you came here to live with us, I promised your mom that I wouldn't let you do Ant-Man stuff by yourself. But the last movie was in San Francisco, and Judy Greer also lived there.
Yep.
So why are they not splitting time?
I think there's a character with mind control that we didn't see in this movie who, like, brainwashed about half the characters. All those ones, like Judy Greer, Cassie, Bobby Cannavale, Luis, and they just forgot.
Guys,
because it makes no sense.
I figured it out.
What is it?
This is the first very subtle hint that they're finally bringing back the leader.
What? Yeah. He's going to come in like, not even a post-credit scene, like a pre-credit scene, and be like, by the way, I know you guys didn't like Ant-Man and the Wasp, but you did because all that stuff was in it, and I just made it look like it wasn't. He'll say it with a southern accent because he's Tim Blake Nelson, but like that's probably what it is. Another one, what happened to their fucking friends? Where's Bill Foster and Lil Ghost? I know, who cares?
Right?
But also, like, they were in the last one. It's so weird. Like, I think Lawrence Fishburne would be down for a cameo. He seems like he's cool with that.
I mean, what else is he doing? John Wick 7? Right. You know, he's got time.
Yeah, like Man of Steel, Snyder Cut 2 or something. I don't think he's busy. I don't know. It's really weird. Like, yeah, it's very dumb. I spun the wheel again. Unless, do we have any other questions about Michael Pena?
No. I just, maybe Ant-Man 4, he'll be back.
And you know what else? I don't see why, because The Flash does this, the show, and I think it's dumb, but I get it, is every season or so, a character will die. Usually, Tom Cavanaugh, Harrison Wells' character, who in the first season was a bad guy. But then in the next season, he just shows up and he's like, hey, I'm from a different dimension, but I'm pretty much that guy, you know. Have Michael Pena just be in the quantum realm, but the fucking president of something or whatever. Have him be a guy. And it's like, you look a lot like my friend Luis. Well, no, I'm a different guy. And we all know what's going on, but it's fine. Like, we're okay with it because we prefer him to not him. But, instead they had William Jackson Harper for no reason.
Can you go on like a 5-minute rant? You seem very upset about this. Why are you so upset about this?
I think we have. Do we have a wheel turn?
Yeah, it is coming up on the wheel.
Okay.
And I'm going to spin the wheel again, and it's not going to hit that. Well, maybe because there's a wheel and I don't have control over it. But it didn't. It hit actually something else. This one's one of mine. Red and purple and yellow go to the brown and maroon dimension. I genuinely think this is one of the ugliest movies I've ever seen. And I don't blame anybody on the creative team except for the person who said what colors things have to be. Because it is baffling to me that certain, like, that characters just, like, I know Ant-Man's suit isn't usually white, but make it white for this one so we can see him. We can't see anybody. Like, I just don't get it. I really don't. Because, this quantum realm is different from the other one in that it's A, not a big kaleidoscope, but B, it's like it's Dune or whatever. They're going Star Wars planet thing. So, like, you get to decide what that looks like. This isn't a real place someone went, and we have to make it look like the real place. So,
Nando,
I don't know why
you should realize
they didn't do it.
Now, an MCU movie can only be visually interesting for a short period of time. When we're not in the quantum realm for too long, it can be like kaleidoscope and weird and wild and like interesting to look at. Or when we're doing multiverse hopping, like the 5-second first version of that where we go through a bunch of different multiverses can be crazy and go to a bunch of different places. But once we settle into what the actual movie is, it's gotta be the most boring version of it.
Yes, that is fair. I guess I had just hoped, say what you will about Thor 4 and Doctor Strange 2. I do think those are well-shot movies that do a pretty good job of, like, CGI stuff. Like, and it definitely feels like there's that one bit in the end of She-Hulk when the robot is like, you're too expensive, change back. And she's like, wait, why do you not have CGI guys? And the robot's like, they're all busy, and it does the Black Panther sound. It feels like a lot of the CGI, like, department got pushed into some other thing because so much of this just looks unfinished. Like, I put the scene in the chat that is the scene where Scott teaches Cassie to jump and stuff. And like, this is like, for people that haven't seen it, you can Google it. Just search Ant-Man jump tap. But like, it's just so weird. I don't understand it. Like, and even that one scene where Cassie shrinks down and you can see her, or not one scene, but one shot where Cassie shrinks down, you can see her running for a second. Yeah. Very bad. Not good. And
it approaches, I wouldn't say it equals, but it approaches the Twilight running.
Yeah, it's right up there. Very not good. Yeah. It's funny, too, because, like, I think someone I heard described this quantum realm as feeling like it has a ceiling, which I think is right. But also, like, I do think it's really funny that the first thing they do when they go to the quantum realm, Scott and Cassie, is encounter a big evil sun or something. And it's like, oh, that's where all the light's supposed to be coming from. You beat that thing up. But, like, there is supposed to be a sun down here somewhere. I just, it's not good. Yeah, not good at all. Also, the helmets are weird, right?
They barely wear them.
Yeah. Well, they wear them and take them off and then wear them and take them off.
That's also weird. Is it like my face must be on screen for at least this amount of time? Like, it's kind of weird.
Yeah. I mean, I think they don't want to put the helmets on when they're shooting it, and they didn't decide.
Yeah, that's fair.
But, like, also, another thing that's kind of weird about the helmets, they don't need them. A lot of characters go into the quantum realm without helmets and are fine. There's no reason why Cassie needs to put on her helmet, shrink, get big, punch, and then take her helmet off again. I mean, besides, it's easier to animate. But, like, yeah, it's so contrived at this point. I mean, you used to, like, need it to breathe and stuff.
Yeah, I thought the helmet was integral to, like, being small.
Yeah. I mean, it was. And then they fixed it right before the movie started. We didn't even know.
Now it's just like, whatever, man.
Yeah, it's like nanotechnology.
It does feel like this movie has a bit of, like, whatever, man, in it. Like, it doesn't care. Like the movie has a lack of effort. It's like, you know, me, just every day, just like, whatever. Who cares?
See, I would say it feels like that from a high level. It feels like a Bob Chapek who was like, because I do feel like there were animators who were like, we're going to do something fun. Because there are some things about this that are good. I think the little creatures look okay. And like some of the things they're doing with that is interesting. But I really, and from the interviews that came out, it does seem like, I mean, I don't know if they're interviews because they're well, I guess it's an interview if it's anonymous, but it does feel like they were like, and we need a couple of minutes for this to render, and Bob Chapek was like, no, you don't, and then we're done, like, because it seems like the animators knew some of this didn't work, which is quite a shame. But you guys, I spun the wheel again, landed on one of Diggins's, I believe. This one just says there's no time to explain.
Well, that's also,
we kind of talked about this, but it's important.
That's also why the movie looks the way it does. There's no time.
That's true.
There's
no
time.
Yeah, so I alluded to this in my summary of the movie, but Janet knows everything that's going down in the quantum. She knows about Kang. She was like a resistance fighter against him for years after she accidentally helped him. She fully understands the politics, the situation, every single aspect that is relevant for everybody to know about what they have gotten themselves into. And she just doesn't explain it for no reason for half the movie.
Yeah.
And it's not...
It's wild.
It's crazy, because it's literally like they're walking in a mushroom forest, and Hank and Janet are asking her, what was that? What's going on? Can you tell us why you're so worried? And I think she even literally says the phrase, like, there's no time to explain. Yeah. And then they're, like, walking in this forest alone for hours. Like, what are you talking about? There's nothing but time to explain.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, and I do think part of it is like, it's not only there's plenty of time to explain, it's not a lot to explain. Hey, you guys, remember that Thanos thing you were always complaining about? There was a Thanos down here, and I helped it by accident. And I feel guilty about that. We can't let Thanos out. Like, it's not like this has never happened before. It should maybe take 5 minutes.
Or even, like,
to get all the information out.
If she feels guilty and, like, doesn't want to talk about her part in it, she doesn't have to. She can just say, there's a super bad man down here named Kang, and he'll fuck us right up if he finds us. So we gotta make sure he doesn't do that.
Yeah, and then you have the other characters go, how do you know? And she's like, it's complicated. I can't tell you right now. Or something. And then, we find out she's not, like, bad. Because that is the other thing. She's not bad. She didn't do anything wrong. It's fine. because she can't have done anything wrong. That would make her bad. But like, I not only find it hard to believe that she wasn't able to tell them in the moment, I also just don't see the morality in being ashamed of this. Like, I think their characters, from what we know about her character, I think she'd be cool with it.
I can understand.
That's the other.
I can understand feeling
Go ahead,
guilty,
Diggins.
where you're like, "Oh man, I made a mistake. I shouldn't have helped him." I don't understand feeling shame because,
Right.
I think she has the temperament and enough time to make her peace. Like, I couldn't have known. Like, I made a mistake. It happens.
Yeah, I agree.
I think too, it's like, because the one thing that's like kind of cool about this movie is like it gives Michelle Pfeiffer a bunch of stuff to do, because it's like, oh, she's been here, so she gets to do a cool like ceremonial knife fight with a guy, and that's cool. But like, she doesn't own any of the cool stuff she has about the quantum realm. It's not gonna be like, I feel so bad, and it's I'm a bad person, and just none of this is good. And it's like, it's not fun. And I'm not saying it's got to be like a laugh a minute, but it's like, if you do have this like character who's so good in the quantum realm, it's like they should like own it a little bit, right?
I mean, it would be nice. It would make it interesting to see.
Also, she's like familiar with the quantum realm and stuff. Comes up like 3 times and then stops happening halfway through the movie.
That too.
Yeah, it is weird. And it's also weird because half of our characters are doing actual quantum realm stuff. Like, they're dealing with the politics of the quantum realm and all of that. But then the other half aren't doing that. I mean, they're doing it a teeny tiny bit, but for mostly they're just traveling.
They're sticking their hands in goo.
Yeah, and the characters that are traveling are the ones that have information or could have an interesting, like, thing going on with the rebels, but so we don't get to have them, like, the rebels be angry at them. Instead, the rebels are angry at Scott for leading MODOK to them. What do you mean? You kidnapped me. I'm not at fault. Like, you guys just really want to be mad at somebody. I think this barbarian girl did it. Like, she seems like she's at fault, and she's just trying to pass off blame. But
also,
yeah, it's so weird.
I'm just thinking about it now. The rebels hate Janet because when Scott brings up Janet, they're like, her?
Yes.
Oh. But like I said, she was a resistance fighter against him as soon as she found out about all this stuff, which I believe we are led to believe is a period of time that lasted for years.
Yeah.
So, like, even if they know about how she accidentally helped him, you'd think by now they'd be like, we don't like her, but, I mean, she is against him.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
She's probably a better ally than someone who's worth, pissing off if we kill her friends or whatever.
Right, like, what happened in the big battles? Was she part of the vanguard, but everybody as they passed her was like, fuck you. I hate you, Janet. You suck.
And also we completely gloss over the one part of it that could justify everybody being mad at her, which is the circumstances in which she left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, yeah. I also think it's weird, and I don't think this is on the wheel. No, it's not. It's weird that her and Kang seem to spend a fair amount of time together when they rebuilt his ship or whatever. Yeah. It was more than a day. And at no point is Kang, like, interested in the fact that she's back. Or, like, I mean, like, he seems to want to get her, but only because because he's bad. But, like, there's no, like, I'm in love with you, or, like, I'm mad at you specifically. We have this vendetta. Like, that relationship is important. It's just, she might as well be another character, just about as good as Ant-Man to him. It's so weird.
Yeah, like, the interesting thing about, like, the scene where she tells the backstory to me is how sincere he seems when she finds out, where he's like, hey, listen, I know you saw some stuff. I'm not going to justify myself, but you helped me, and I made a promise. I will do the thing I said I will do for you, and I will never come to your reality to hurt you.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And it's like, I mean, this is a personal thing for me. I always think it's more interesting when villains are, like, sincere when they make deals than when they're just, like, evil and betray you for no reason. Because that's, like, where the moral dilemma is. You can make a deal with this guy, and he will follow through, and you will get everything you want, but you gotta live with the fact that bad stuff is gonna happen because of that to people who aren't you.
Yeah. And this movie has a big twist late in the game that's actually Kang doesn't do that. He probably would have started by destroying our reality if Janet helped him, because he goes back on deals because fuck you.
Yep.
That's why. Like, it's pretty good.
And it's also interesting because, like, for the 12 of us that saw the Loki show, where like there was a sincere Kang who was like, all cards on the table, here's what's going on, I am just telling you like it is, and you take that as you will. So, I mean, I guess if you want to show the contrast, fine, where it's like, this Kang is good, this Kang's a dick, but, like, again, only, like, a dozen people saw Loki, so I don't think any of that's in play here.
Well, the problem, guys, is if he did give back Cassie, then they would no longer have had a personal stake in taking him down, and therefore we would have had to deal with the theme the movie pretends it has.
That's right. The quantum realm would be destroyed. Even my daughter is what would have happened. It is bizarre how mercurial this Kang is in general. Like, I mean, we have a Kang slice, so I'll save this for the Kang slice. But just in general, like, it's like there's things that people say about him, things that he says about himself, and none of it matches.
Right.
I don't get it. But anyway, I spun the wheel again and landed on one of, I think this is DJ's Drink the Goo Dad. Was that you?
That's me.
No, it was
Diggins.
Diggins.
All right.
So,
yeah, that happens.
This is generally about the scene where they, like you said, the rebels kidnap Scott and Cassie and force them to drink some goo that it turns out just makes them able to understand everyone because they don't speak English. That's not what I want to talk about. I want to talk about how this scene is the most bizarrely edited section of the movie.
And also somehow the most colorful.
Yeah, but here's what happens. We see Scott getting dragged by a crowd of people while all the other people are like, yelling at him. And he's like, huh? What's happening? I don't know. And then we cut to Cassie, who has red goo on her face, shouting, "Drink the goo, Dad!" Then we cut away from this scene to Janet doing the ceremonial knife fight to get them a flying monster.
Yep.
So we're there for a couple minutes. Then we cut back to Scott, who is in the same position, and everyone's yelling at him, and he's like, I don't know what's happening. And they bring up the goo, and he's acting like Cassie, he doesn't know where Cassie is. And Cassie hasn't told him anything. And he's forced to drink the goo, and then the goo makes him talk, and he acts like, I didn't know this would be a good thing. Even though we already saw Cassie tell him it was fine. And also, why did we cut to the other thing in the middle of that? This was one sequence.
Yeah, I mean, the way time passes in this movie and the way it feels like the movie is in the quantum realm, honestly. Like, it was edited through quantum technology that they still time in a weird way. But it really does seem like there were 2 takes of that scene, and they decided to put both in the movie. Just see if we noticed. But
it also, like, it's such a stupid choice because it robs the tension of that scene. Is like, these guys are feeding him a weird goo. We don't know what it does. But we were already told by Cassie that it's fine. So it's just like, all right, he's going to drink the goo and it's fine.
I guess there's a way to interpret it where it's like, oh no, Cassie's been brainwashed. She's telling me that the goo is fine when it's actually not fine, right? That could be like a thing.
I mean, that's possible. I do think it's bizarre. Speaking of characters hiding information from each other, there's no follow-up to that phrase. Drink the goo, Dad.
Yeah.
It's a language thing. It'll help you understand them.
Well,
she's not, like, they're restraining her because she's a prisoner. But, like, you would assume they would be like, yeah, we do want him to drink this, so we should probably tell him what it is. And she's trying to do that. So, yeah, let her do it.
Well, no, I don't think she is being restrained in that shot. I think they let her go when she says that. And also, it is so clearly something that wasn't part of the original filming of this scene. Because we cut away to a different shot of her amongst a bunch of people with Scott conspicuously not there, just shouting that, a thing that never gets referenced or acted like happened again. So they...
By the way,
So they put that...
Yeah, sorry.
Sorry, they retroactively put that in the movie afterwards in a reshoot or something. And, like...
Yeah.
Why?
By the way, the better way to do that scene is you have Cassie say some, like, garbled thing that Scott can't understand. Like, Cassie goes, like, blah, 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 blah. And then... he's like, Cassie, no! Right? That's, like, the better way to do that scene.
Or just have Cassie be passed out or something, because that's what happens when you drink the goo for about a minute. And then you're cool. And then he's like, you're going to poison me. And then that or something. But, yeah, it seems like it's just such a weird little thing. Also, like, everybody can fucking talk to each other. Nobody cares. Groot speaks English, too. We just kind of go with it. Especially the quantum realm. They make such a big deal. And I spun the wheel again. It landed on we hired William Jackson Harper to allude to Paul Rudd's butthole. They make this whole big deal of like they're not people. It's like, yeah, they are, and that's okay. That we don't give a shit. Just pretend he's like a person, because it's two things. It's either humans that don't have anything strange about them, except for, I guess, he has his little headlines, or monster creatures from a Cronenberg movie or something. Like, not really, but like that's what they're going for. And it's like, well, if these guys don't look like that, I think we're supposed to assume they're just people. And
right.
I don't. Yeah.
Like, why couldn't humans have evolved in the quantum realm? Everything else is on the table. What? There can't be humans? Like,
yeah, maybe somebody got struck by lightning real hard, and it activated the quantum realm for 1 second, and they got pulled in, and then that guy is there, Adam, and then that just started from there.
Yeah, I mean, people get pulled in the quantum realm. It happened to Janet and Kang.
That's right.
I mean, Kang got exiled, not pulled in, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, it's a technology that characters use like pretty quickly, not quickly, but like Paul Rudd's able to use the Pym particles pretty easily. So, like, yeah, Benjamin Franklin accidentally made a Pym particle one day. He didn't know what it was, but somebody got sucked into it, and that guy died forever. That's where the Roanoke colony is. It's in the quantum realm. And then, that's just, like, why there's people down there.
Especially because, a thing that is true about quantum physics is that, I don't want to get too far into the technical details of this, but essentially there is extremely low probabilities of, like, really wacky stuff happening on a quantum level with physics that just, in practice, because it is so incredibly improbable, just, like, no one will ever observe in the lifetime of the human race. But it's a comic book movie, so you could just say, like, yeah, that crazy improbable thing happened, and some people got sucked into the quantum realm.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, so one of the people, the only movie star besides David Polka Dot Man, is William Jackson Harper. I say movie star. I mean, he was in the one where everyone was a bear at the end or whatever, right?
What?
Florence Pugh. What's that movie called? Midsommar.
Oh.
So he's a movie star.
Yeah, he is. He's good in that.
Yeah, he's just in this for no reason. As
well,
punishment
to
for me.
make you mad about the Mr. Fantastic thing. Yeah. That's why he's in it, right?
Now, it's weird because his character is named Quaz, which doesn't matter. These characters are all ripoffs of the Micronauts, as characters that, like, Marvel had comics of, but then they don't have the rights to them because I believe they started as toys or something. I think Hasbro owns them. Either way, they can't use the Micronauts in a movie, so they just pretended these guys were the Micronauts. So they had to make up names for them. Who cares? And Quaz is, like, weirdly specifically kind of like Quasar, a Marvel character that could show up in the future. But this isn't what he's like either. This is what nobody's like. I don't get it. I really don't.
Nobody.
Like, it honestly, and I don't think they were, like, quite baiting everybody in WandaVision when they were like, I know a scientist that can help us with this car, and then we never saw what that is. But I think they knew, like, people are gonna think this is Blue Marvel or whatever. But then with this, it's like, why name him at all? We didn't even say it. Maybe once we said Quaz, but it doesn't matter. But yeah, I don't know. It's really dumb. Honestly, he'd be a good Blue Marvel if they wanted to have him be that. But
well, right
now he's Quaz.
So now, well, I mean, could he still be Mr. Fantastic? And if not, who's your new fan cast now that, like, that has been ripped from your loins?
He definitely could, in terms of, like, nobody gives a shit that he was in this movie. In fact, I think everybody that remembers it would prefer to not, like, to pretend it didn't happen. Like, but yeah, I think in a year, if, Joe Schmo on the street had seen this movie today, there's no way they'll remember that character was in there. I still like him. I don't think it will be him because it's just too weird and specific now. I don't know. I've always I don't mind the guy from You. I think he's fine. Penn Badgley. It's weird that he won't kiss women on screen or something because his wife told him not to. I don't understand this.
Oh, really? Oh.
Well, like, maybe his wife didn't tell him not to, but, like, he said, like, out of respect for my marriage or whatever, I'm not going to do sex scenes. And it's like, it wasn't weird until just now. Well, now you made it weird by pointing this out.
The MCU,
but
you made it weird.
The MCU was perfect for him then.
That's true.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, there's rumors that, I don't know if this is true, but there's rumors that the movie is going to, like, the Fantastic Four are going to pick up already having their 2 children, or at least one of their 2 children. Like, Franklin will already exist. And that sounds about right. Because that way, they could just have implied sex. We'll never ever, like, we never have to think about it once. But yeah, I think my other ones are still. I still have some in it, but I don't know. I don't really have a super strong opinion on like another guy. I like Dan Stevens. I think he's a good actor, and I think he's weird. Honestly, I don't hate Steven Yeun, but I also don't think it's where he's probably best utilized. I also like John Cho, but I think he's too old. There was a new one, though, or someone who I was like, oh, and I like Jamie Dornan. I think you could get away with Jamie Dornan and Dakota Johnson as both of these characters, and it would be kind of interesting, but it probably won't be. Nobody knows, because there's a new rumor every day. They're doing a good job of covering that up.
Also, as to the double actor thing, isn't Gemma Chan two characters in the MCU?
A couple people are. She's the big one because she was the main character in a movie, and then not main villain, but like a somewhat notable villain. God, who else? Alfre, or whatever her name is. And this doesn't really count, but like the villain in Luke Cage season 1 shows up in Civil War as a different character, like the Mariah, Black Mariah, I think it's her name.
Isn't
names of those characters are weird, but yeah, they've done it before. Nobody cares.
Is Mahershala Ali in Luke Cage?
Oh yeah, he's Blade now. I mean, he's Blade off screen, but yes, he is.
Yeah,
but
he's the voice of Blade.
In theory,
Yeah.
he will eventually be Blade.
Yeah, but yeah, they've done plenty of double casting. I do think this would be a weird one because it's so close, and you could just name this character Reed from Dimension 50, and no one would like. It would be like fun. But, like, by now you'd figured they would know that he is or is not Reed Richards, and they'd lead into it as a way to disguise the fact that the movie's not that great and, like, get kind of some listicles going. But, yeah, I don't know. It's weird.
I have one real quick question tied to this wheel slice.
Mm-hmm.
Can you guys name all 7 of Paul Rudd's holes?
I can't.
Okay.
Well, I mean, yeah. DJ?
2 eyes, 2 ears, mouth, belly button, butthole?
Well, no. Right? It's 2 eyes, 2 ears, mouth. Well, are you counting nose?
Yeah, guys, come on.
He might have more than 7 holes.
Listen.
Oh, yeah.
Here's the 7
Butthole
holes.
and penis. Those are the main ones. But, like, I don't know if nose counts.
Yeah, mouth, nostrils, ear holes, butthole, pubis. Those are the 7
Wait,
holes.
Eyes aren't the
Eyes
holes?
aren't holes.
How are
eyes got stuff in them? They got eyes.
Well, I mean, I guess it depends on what you consider a hole. Like, does it have to be an open thing, or is it just a part of the skull with a big,
The blob ooze man complains that he doesn't have holes, but he does have eyes.
But he also has a mouth.
That's a great point.
Like, I don't... Or I think he has a mouth. I don't remember, but
that's how he expels the goo, right?
Oh, yeah. However the goo comes... Oh, well, it doesn't have to be a hole, though. It can just be like... It's a membrane that just kind of slips out. Maybe he doesn't have a mouth, but yeah, I don't know. And whatever it is, it's different holes than William Jackson Harper, apparently. Or at least William Jackson Harper's not able to go, yeah, he's got 7 holes like me. So I think he's got no butthole.
Yeah, because we already know from Bill Murray that these not humans from the quantum realms have a penis.
That's right. Yep. It could be a cloaca situation, you know?
Well,
we never...
A cloaca wouldn't work well with the female anatomy.
Well, maybe it's just... Well, that's true.
Like, what, was Bill Murray giving Janet a cloacal kiss?
Perhaps.
I just don't think that would be very pleasurable for her.
That's why she doesn't talk about it.
You don't know.
It's a very upsetting topic. It's not the Kang stuff. It's sex with them. It's like that one comic where Superman has a weird penis, and Lois is like, what is it for? What is it doing that? And he's like, I'm an alien. What happened? Why did you think I'd have a dick? It's weird. But you guys, I spun the wheel one more time. I mean, not like one more time as the end, but MCU organism designed only for callback.
Yeah.
Diggins.
I mean, this is my wheel chunk, but Nando, this feels like your topic.
Yeah.
It's spiritually Nando's wheel chunk.
Bad, stupid waste of MODOK in that he wasn't, like, he didn't look good in that the effect wasn't very good. It had shadows, but no depth. Like, it looked like it was shadows painted onto an egg. But also, he wasn't ugly either. MODOK's supposed to be ugly. He was a handsome man. And also, he didn't do anything. He was just there.
Like I said, he doesn't...
Easily could have been the main villain, working for Kang, and Kang is off screen the whole movie, like Ronan in Guardians 1. But instead, he wasn't. He was just there.
He doesn't, like I said, he doesn't kill anyone. It's in his name, and he doesn't do it.
Yeah. Like I'm saying, I'm pretty sure there's some action scenes where he does, and we just can't see them. But with special glasses and a gigantic TV at home, you can see MODOK ripping all the bad guys to shreds. Or good guys, I guess.
Oh, wait. I have a quick question for you guys that's kind of related. Did you guys see this movie in 3D?
No.
So I did. And, like, I don't know. The effect was, like, weird. Like, I thought maybe it was a 3D thing, but maybe it was just an all-movie thing.
I think it might be this movie thing.
It looked very bad.
Yeah.
The MODOK effect. It looked like it was not his face, but a big video screen, and he was just way too close to the camera.
Yeah.
And also had, like...
Maybe that's the ugliness you were looking for, Nando. They're like, we won't make him literally ugly, but we'll make it, like, ugly to look at.
Yeah. We'll give it Uncanny Valley, but not, like, a big ugly face. Like, and I mean, the mask is it's like sewing Deadpool's mouth shut. Why is he doing the fighting with a big thing so we can't see his face when his eyes swell up with pride as he rips a man in half? Like, this is basic MODOK. It's not that hard, but I mean that's the easiest way to be like, well, yeah, obviously, but they just couldn't do it. It was expensive and it took a lot of time, so they decided to give him a big helmet.
I will say,
insane.
They definitely surprised me with this choice because I didn't think they would do anything so pointlessly dumb.
Really, Diggins?
Yeah.
Really?
Where have you been these last 20 years?
I didn't think they would do this specific pointlessly dumb thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fair. Did you think they'd show us his little butt?
I did not.
You see his
That
little
was
butt?
good. We know how many holes he's got. I did like that. I don't think he's a bad MODOK. I mean, I feel like we've all known this.
Oh, come on, no. He's a
no.
MODOK.
It's not that I don't think he did a bad job. I think he's horribly miscast, but like they thought it was clever, and it's like clever, I guess. But like Jim Carrey, Mike Myers, some actor with a rubber face who can just look crazy for 10 minutes of screen time, obviously, because that's all he gets here. But like that's what you do with the MODOK. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. I don't know why they tried. Also, his weapons look bad because they were all just purple light nonsense. I don't know what it is with Marvel where they have decided every scene has to be lit by the magic weapon and nothing else. But like, it makes so much of this hard to see. It's so weird.
Oh, I do want to say, in my research, I found out they gave a reason for why they did this with MODOK, and the reason is to close a plot hole that, unlike all the plot holes we've mentioned so far, I don't think exists.
Yeah.
Yeah, right? Is that a thing?
Did they say what the plot hole is?
Yeah, no, they said what it is.
No, okay.
That's what I'm saying. Like, they said what it is, and I was like, I didn't think that was a plot hole at all.
Yeah.
Which is, they wanted him to be MODOK so that there was a reason Kang knew who the Pims were.
Yeah, Kang already knows that from when he hung out with Hope or Janet. That information is completely redundant.
Yeah. He already knows who Janet is.
And does MODOK even know who Janet is?
I don't know. He knows who Hank is. Maybe that's what they're trying to say. Like, oh, that way he knows. I think they were trying to be like, oh, that's how they knew to look for this signal and then suck them in. But like, I would think that's just a thing Kang has constantly monitoring, looking for people who could possibly open up portals.
Yeah, no, he's been doing this for a while, and he's like, ooh, who's that? Reed Richards? I think I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait and hang out in the quantum realm until that one guy MODOK keeps babbling about. We'll do this. If he doesn't, I guess this will never happen. Probably one of the other Kangs will be the bad guy. I don't know, but that is an insane plot hole to do.
That isn't actually a plot hole.
Also, just don't have him be MODOK then. Pick a different thing. Like, I'm not saying...
Yeah.
And I don't think, to be fair, I think we could do MODOK again if we... This writer writes Rick and Morty stuff, right? Just have every Kang have a MODOK. Because Kang built MODOK on purpose for fun. Like... So we could do this in the future, but it will just feel like The Leader or Abomination, where it's one of those moments where they're like, listen... We know we messed it up, but we're going to do it for real this time. Or Mandarin. It's just like, just don't do it the first time then. But that's how it works now. So like in 10 years, we'll get a comic accurate MODOK. I don't know.
Well, you made, real quick, Nando, so you made the Deadpool analogy where you're like, oh, they sewed his mouth shut. So who's going to be the actor who takes it up to be like, I'm going to make the people's MODOK?
See, like it would have to be a comedian who can seem like a nerd. Like, honestly, like, there's some SNL people that could do it, right? Like, Mikey Day could do probably a pretty good MODOK.
I mean...
The other one, Kyle Mooney, could probably do a pretty good MODOK.
Patton Oswalt did the MODOK show.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Man, MODOK's just been a punching bag. And I don't know if the MODOK show was the MCU. I guess not. But just Marvel visual properties, it's like fucking the MODOK the punching bag.
I mean... That's fine as, like, a thing. He can be just for jokes, but it's like jokes that are good.
But don't make him a big stretched out face. And just...
Yeah, like, or just have him wear the mask the entire movie. I mean, that's dumb too, but like, it's an option. Yeah, I don't know.
I wouldn't even mind if like we had just like a little tiny like Darien Cross, just like a baby Voldemort, like vulnerable, and then Kang finds him and puts him in the suit, and it's like Darth Vader, where we're like, we never see him. Maybe at the end he takes his mask off, but it's like we mostly don't see him.
Yeah, because you know what? In his death scene, I think his face looked better. I think it was everything before that where it looked bad. I don't know why, but like, if that was the only time we ever saw his face, I think it's weird that they did that, but we wouldn't be having this conversation. We'd have a different conversation about that they should have showed us his face, so I don't know. They can't win. When
he goes at the end, I'm an Avenger, right? Which I know was a joke throwaway line that I think a dude in my audience groaned at. Like, I heard that line, then I heard someone go, ugh! And I was like, I feel you, man. Like, does he know who the Avengers are?
Yes. In Ant-Man, by Ant-Man, the Avengers exist.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Right, but are they the public-facing thing that, like, they are?
Well, in Ant-Man, when Hank Pym is like, we need to do Ant-Man, Scott's like, I think we should call the Avengers. They're the guys that do this.
Oh, right.
So I do think there's something. I mean, it's after Ultron, so they better be important.
Also, Kang killed a bunch of Avengers, according to him, so he could have mentioned it.
Yeah.
That's true, yeah.
That is such a fucking, like, disgrace that, like, I've killed so many Avengers, and it's like, well, you can't beat the lamest ones.
And also, do you really forget what Thor looks like? Come on.
Yeah.
He's a little bit different than this.
Unless he was negging on purpose.
Yeah.
Like,
which would be fun.
But then you don't use Thor. You use, like, are you the, like, I don't know. Are you the one who controls squirrels? Just do that.
Yeah, pick a different character
what?
you haven't
That's
seen
one?
yet.
He's like, there's one who controls squirrels? What?
Or have him be like, you're that Spider-Man, right? And Scott's like, why do people keep saying this about me? I'm not Spider-Man. I'm a different guy. Have that be a thing that keeps happening. But no, instead it's this. Yeah, not good. I spent the middle again, you guys. Landed on one of Diggins's. Bill Murray confirms he has a penis. Kind of got at that, but he did. We finally know it.
We basically already talked about this. Bill Murray is like, I'm not a... They go into really specific detail where he's like, where Hank goes, you're a human, aren't you? And Bill Murray goes, no, I'm not a human, but I am human enough to have sex with your wife.
Yeah.
I have a nitpick for the scene that's right before this. So Janet goes to the bar, orders a drink from the cool bartender, because we're in the quantum realm and everyone's different and goofy, orders the drink, so they can understand thing, doesn't pay for it? How does currency work in the quantum realm? How are services rendered? The
quantum realm is actually a post-money commune.
Is everything socialism? Is that the best way to go? Because it's socialism, well, with the ants.
It's communism with the ants.
That's true.
I thought it was socialism.
Oh, yeah, I think he does say socialism. You're right.
He does say socialism.
Never mind, I'm wrong.
They couldn't show this movie in America if the ants were communists.
Yeah,
that's
I mean,
true.
remember that time? Like, remember in the one with Doctor Strange where what's her name's like, it's weird that you guys have money. Most universes don't have money anymore. Like,
oh yeah,
just do that, and then it's fine. But it seems like they would have money. Seems like Krylar's rich and everybody else is broke.
That's the only reason why, because there seems to be a class system. Yeah. So, like, that would imply that there's money, right?
Right, but in fact, no, there's not money. We'll never find out about why. But yeah, pretty weird.
It just would have been a fun scene if the bartender was like, "Hey, you gotta pay for that." And I don't know.
Hey, I need
and then Krylar could save them, be like, "No, they don't need to pay. They're all good."
You need 4 Blorglex.
Yeah.
You gotta give me 4 Blorglex. Also incredible. Bill Murray showed up.
He did? Where?
I thought he was better than I was expecting he would be. I think he put a little bit of effort into it, probably because Stature, the little girl, told him to or whatever on their phone call. But like, I think he was okay.
He was fine. I mean, it's not a very big role.
Yeah.
It's basically a cameo.
But I've seen him phone in roles before, and this wasn't that.
Yeah, we all watched the latest Ghostbusters movie.
Exactly. Yeah, and the one before that.
And the one before that.
Yeah, it's
And honestly, you watch the first one again, it's clear he doesn't care.
Yeah. Yeah, we shouldn't be digging him, honestly. Like, this is just Bill Murray, right? Like, or he doesn't put in effort.
I mean, they knew what they were getting, but also, I think they knew that, and that's why he didn't do anything significant.
Yeah.
I spun the wheel again, you guys. Landed on one of mine. This one just says, "Hey Wasp, any thoughts?" No, cool. Wasp was in this movie, you guys. Easy to miss.
The title.
Are you sure?
It is the
Ant-Man and the
title.
Wasp,
I think I
Quantumania.
would remember if Wasp was in this movie, you guys.
That's true.
I-
It's a good point.
So, quick anecdote. I was on the phone with my dad, and he's like, "Are you going to see the new Ant-Man and the Wasp movie?" I'm like, "I think it's just Ant-Man Quantumania." He goes, No, it's Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. And I'm like, oh my god, it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, why is that the name of the movie?
Well, 'cause
I mean,
It should be Ant-Man Quantumania.
the last one was Ant-Man and the Wasp.
So? They weren't all Thor, the Dark World, Ragnarok. Like, what does that matter?
I mean, they added a guy onto it, so I feel like it would be weird if it was like, I mean, I wouldn't mind, but it would be weird if it was like Ant-Man and Ant-Man 1, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Ant-Man 3. Like, that would be pretty funny, though, actually. I think they should have done that.
And accurate, though, to what
I
happened.
feel
Yeah.
like there must have been a boardroom meeting about this, where a bunch of executives were like, Wasp ain't really in this one. And someone else was like, but if we demote her from the credits, then the feminists will be mad at us.
Absolutely.
Or something like that. Or they talk themselves into some stupid thing like that. Where it's like, people will be mad if Wasp isn't in the title anymore. Which I don't think is true, to be clear. But
No.
they talk themselves into
I
it.
don't think we all love Evangeline Lilly so much that we need her in the title.
Well, yeah, a year or 2 years, well, not 2 years ago, 3 years ago, I would have been like, it's weird that they did that. But now I would have been like, I get it. Smart of you. Because, yeah, apparently she's, so I had to look this up because I was like, what was her crime? Why did we cancel her? First, right as COVID started, she was like, I'm not doing any lockdowns. It's tyranny. And then people were like, you shouldn't do that. And then she put out a post that was like, I'm sorry about that, guys. I was wrong. And I was like, oh, okay. That's what you're supposed to do. Bare minimum. You know, Shuri doubled down and deleted her Twitter account. And so, like, there's worse ways you could handle it. Then she gets really into the truckers. Dumb. And then, like, 2 days ago, she came out against vaccine mandates again. Like,
Wait,
it's
we're
like
still doing
she's
this?
trying to get fired.
We're still coming out against vaccine mandates?
I know.
I thought that was over.
Like, I'm sure Gina Carano can hook you up with the role. You don't have to do this. They'll just let you. But,
Oh my god.
yeah, it's so weird. Yeah, she was at an anti-vax rally like a couple days ago. Or maybe they just talked about it. But, like, it's like,
I thought we all moved on. I thought it was like, oh, whatever.
yeah,
The battle lines have been drawn and the war's over. Just whatever.
I really don't get it. But I did kind of hope. I hope they've recasted her.
You
But now I feel like they
hoped.
almost did something more interesting. They made her go to set every day and not do anything. Put on the stupid outfit and just sit there in the thing while the adults talked to, like, while her parents talked about how much they had sex. That was cool.
Ugh.
All right. Spelling wheel again. Landed on DJ's big one. Why Kang?
Oh, why Kang? All right, so this is our, I guess, just long rant on Kang. So, okay, I just briefly, because I think we discussed this enough, it just doesn't make sense that Kang is in this movie, and we talked that point. But I think furthermore, it's like, we are truly going to be getting diminishing returns on Kang if, like, this is what's going to be, where he just gets his ass kicked. I rewatched Loki, because I'm like, all right, how was that? How'd that go with the one who remains? And, like, he's really good and very fun, and Jonathan Majors that is. And, like, I don't think, honestly, Jonathan Majors had an amazing performance outside the post-credit scene, which I would classify as amazing because it amazed me. I'm like, oh, there's so much going on. But, like, I just felt that it was so unnecessary that this was Kang, but also I think we're cheapening the Kang stock. Like, this Kang stock might start to plummet real fast, and I don't like that. And I just wish it was Loki, and then maybe he just shows up in a post-credit scene for this, and we do the Thanos thing, and it's like, okay, he's in Secret Wars, and then let's go. I don't want Kang sprinkled out the rest of these. I think it could be really bad.
Well, I do think this is partially a response to what I think is a fair criticism of Thanos and the whole, like, first three phases of the MCU, where it's like, yeah, we tease him a little bit at first, but then we just keep teasing him and teasing him. He never shows up, even when you think it would make sense that he started doing things. And we just, like, keep drawing it out until the very end, to the point where you get kind of, like, tease fatigue, where you're like, all right, I just want to see him at this point. I think that is a fair criticism of how they handled Thanos. But yeah, now we're having the opposite problem, where it's like, yeah, so we're going Kang right away, but if Kang just shows up and gets his shit kicked in every single time, Then by the time we get to the big finale, I'm like, why is this even a problem? You guys have beat Kang a bunch of times.
And, like, I don't think more Kangs will be the answer. It's like, well, there's a bunch of them. And some of them, their hats are so tough. You won't believe the hats they're wearing. Wow. And they're really tough. The hats are crazy, man. Like, that's not the answer.
I think that might be my answer, is more hats equals better
more
Kangs.
Hats?
I'm cool with that. But also... like, just make this Kang not the best one. Make him a dumb one that kind of got stuck there or something.
Yeah.
Don't make him the god of Kangs that they all hate. Like,
yeah, that's the other thing.
know.
Like, this is Kang the Conqueror. This is, like, MCU, like, Marvel Comics, the main Kang.
Yeah.
That should be the one you build up for the end, and we fight a bunch of loser Kangs until then.
Yeah. I don't know, man.
I really don't.
This is why I said I'm worried. I'm worried about Kevin. I don't think this is going to be trending in necessarily a good direction.
Sorry, do you mean that we have to talk about Kevin?
We need to talk about Kevin.
Is Kevin okay? Does Kevin know what he's still doing? Does Kevin still have it? Did the game pass Kevin by?
You know what I think, DG? I think Kevin can fuck himself.
Oh my god! I think Kevin can wait. Let's let Kevin wait. Okay, give him a couple days. I feel like, I mean this Kang thing is bizarre. I feel like there's so many drafts of this script where something slightly different happens at the very end, and it's okay. He doesn't die. Okay.
Right.
He traps somebody in the quantum realm with him. Okay. Like, but gets handily defeated and everyone escapes and they're fine and the civilization is good now. That's the worst option. Don't do that.
The most imposing thing was he disintegrated people with lasers, which, like, okay, that's horrifying, but it doesn't matter. Ant-Man's laser-proof, I guess.
Yeah, I mean...
You can't laser Ant-Man. He's too good.
And he got anted to death. Ugh. All right, anyway, that we'll get to those. Real quick, spin the wheel, land on one of mine. Yeah, a heist. Because it's not a heist, obviously, but also tell him what it is. He's dropped in there and they're like, this is the probability. Fucking tell him before he goes in then. Do you want him to get it or not? Do you want him to go crazy in there? Because that's what happens.
Yeah.
But now they go out of their way to make it difficult for him. Nobody in this movie can say what the movie is. That's the rules. Everybody has to allude to things in the movie. It's every character... in the script, it says their name, and then underneath in parentheses it says coyly, and then it says their lines. And that was an accident, but they left it in. I spun the wheel again, landed on another one of mine. Similar topic. Just fucking shoot the discs at it. I don't know. I was like, well, how are they going to get this thing out of there? As he touches it, is that going to be enough? And then it doesn't work. And then what's-her-name comes in. And I do think it's so funny that all the Scots had to kind of learn to work together. And all the Wasps were like, we always want one thing. There is no character. So they're all also completely in on it. Like their multiples aren't like fighting each other or whatever. And then they just fucking shoot discs at it until it explodes. Since when?
The whole thing with Scott and his clones felt like such a parody of the things I don't like about the Ant-Man movies. Because it has all the texture of oh man, he's struggling and he's being crushed, but then he learns an important lesson and then that lets him do the thing right. Except that the thing he learns is nothing. The thing he learns is like, oh no, I'm doing it bad. And then he's just suddenly like, wait, what if I did it good instead?
Well, it's even dumber than that. Because, it is pretty much that. But what he says is, we all want the same thing. We want to save our daughter. That's always been your single defining character trait, dude. This is not new. You should never have had any problem then. You should have all worked together the whole time.
Can I say something, guys?
Yeah.
I don't think you guys get it because you're not dads. As a father, I watched that scene and was like, oh my god, I totally get it. This makes so much sense to me.
Phase 5 is also the phase of dads. They're all going to be the dad phase from now on.
So would you say, DJ, did you also watch the stuff with Thanos and Gamora and Nebula, and you were like, I get it. If I could cybernetically replace all the things of my child that I thought were bad, I would do it too.
Well, it has to be a biological child, otherwise it doesn't work. Orphans or kidnapped children doesn't count.
I'm not saying that at all.
I mean, you said that right before we started. Oh, I'm not saying it's fine. Yeah. But yeah, it's very...
it was Bill Murray.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's very dumb. It's very dumb that they do that. And yeah, this would be where the character arc happens, but it can't, so they just say a thing. It's pretty good. Spun the wheel again, landed on one. Somebody, I don't know, we kind of all said this. M-she ants. Let's talk about the woke ants.
Yo, M-she ants. Well, I like the little socialist thing.
I love that.
That Hank Pym says. It's like, I know it's a loaded term, but I'm like, who fucking wrote this script?
I love that Evangeline Lilly cuts him off in that sentence, too.
God, that's
I don't want to hear any of your woke propaganda, Michael Douglas.
That feels like another brick in the wall of like this movie likes to pretend it has radical politics, where they're like flirting with like, oh, we're saying socialism's good, but it's fucking nothing. He doesn't even describe what their society's like.
Yeah. Also, like, that feels like Michael Douglas might have been like, oh, I'm going to ad-lib this because I don't like this. I mean, it's talking about socialism.
Really, it's the best line in the movie. Anyway, that was dumb. And then the ants beat Kang. Mm-hmm. So hopefully we can just get those ants, more of them, to kill Kang next time.
Yeah, why didn't he?
Seems like they're
Could
fine.
the ants have beaten Thanos? Could they have crawled up his butthole and beat him?
Yeah, how come?
I think the ants could do anything.
If I was Hank, I would be like, hey, do a couple of you ants want to come back with me so we can keep doing stuff? But I guess I also already know how to make the super intelligent ants, so why don't I just do that again?
Right. Yeah. Honestly,
but he has to give them 1,000 years to make their own society. They have to be unburdened by whatever the fuck.
Someone pointed out in a video, I can't remember which one, that the movie, it makes a lot of sense if the movie ends with the two parents stuck in the quantum realm, because he loves the ants and she's kind of sad about how she fucked up their whole society. It is pretty weird that Michael Douglas is just cool with never seeing the ants again. Like,
well, maybe he's happy for him. Also, like, once they've lived 1,000 years, you're not really part of them anymore.
That's
like,
true.
they're their like descendants to like the 28th power or whatever. Like, you are so far.
Especially ants. Ants don't live that long.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I just figured he'd want to like observe them or something. Like, he'd be so curious. I have so many questions, but nah.
Well, that's because, Nando, we weren't pretending for even a second that whoever stayed behind was actually stuck. So
that's right.
What did it matter?
Yeah.
True. Okay, spun the wheel again. We got the post-credit scenes. We got two of them. First one, Sylvester Stallone, Spy Kids 3D. So, remember that scene in Spy Kids 3D where all the different Stallones have different hats and accents?
Oh my god.
That was pretty good, right? Let's do that again. I really appreciate how much Jonathan Majors seems to be down for this.
Yeah.
Honestly,
I like the silly voices.
I am on record in this podcast saying I didn't love the performance in Loki. I thought he was like too quirky. I like him a lot in this movie, actually.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the character sucks, but I think the performance is great. I think he's so menacing in a way that like really helps the character feel better than he is.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah.
And I think because I've seen another movie he's in recently. I do think he's just one of those actors that is just like, oh, right, he'll be the new person that we all love for a couple of years until we get tired of them because they're overexposed. But like, he's going to be in everything now if he has time, because he's also got to be in every MCU movie forever too. But
and he's got to be in them multiple times now. He's all the Kangs.
That's right. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure
even in movies he's not in, he has to show up anyway.
Yeah, so he can be in a post-credit scene and be like, I'm going to do a Kang thing eventually, and every audience can go like, oh my god, he's going to do a Kang thing.
It's pretty weird. So we had three Kangs. First one, I feel like the first one that speaks is the robot Kang one, the Crimson Centaurian one, who's the one that is the least interesting. Nobody cares. I love that the Pharaoh one is just wearing a Pharaoh hat from Party City. Like, that's awesome.
Yeah, he's just full on wearing, like, he stepped off a Hollywood set from the 30s.
Yeah, right. It's awesome. And then the other one is wearing a big old hat and has a blue face and speaks like the not upside down people. What was it called? The ones from Us who have like a frog in their throat the whole movie.
God, what
More
the hell
of
were
that.
they called?
Oh, yeah.
The Tethered.
The Tethered.
He speaks like a Tethered.
Yes.
And it was great. Yeah, I loved it.
I did think that was fun. I called it the Council of Ricks, but I like your illusion better.
Well, it's interesting because he is, right, like the writer wrote Rick and Morty. The Council of Ricks is based off the Council of Kangs from the comics. So it is like one of those like kind of She-Hulk Deadpool moments where it's like people are, oh man, she's just like Deadpool. And it's like, well, no, Deadpool's like her. But it's just not. I mean, they really try to get on the nose with it because that last line of all of them shouting, like that last image is what happens when you Google Council of Kangs. It's like a comic from the 70s. Like, so yeah, they've been at this for a while. I like that the Kangs also just don't give, like, they're all rowdy, you know, hooligans at a soccer game, apparently, when not in complete control. And that's pretty fun.
Yeah.
I like them. And then second post-credit scene, spun the wheel again. Remember, guys, Loki was good.
Yeah.
Remember that?
For the 12 of you that saw it, it was fantastic.
We got Loki and Mobius and Victor Timely. In case you were like, are they going to show us every single possible Kang character? Yes, they're going to show you every one. They're not even going to keep one secret. And this one is
that's a Kang guy, Victor Timely.
Victor Timely, yeah. He's the one that goes back in time and like invents time travel and not like invents time travel, but like it like goes and makes a little town called Timely City or just like Timely, Oklahoma or whatever. And I think he's more of a bad guy, but honestly, I can't keep them all straight. I feel like
we're getting Iron Lad. When we getting him?
That's the one that I'm like, why didn't we see him? But I do think they knew their limits. They were like 500 Kangs, 501. That's too much. Got to save one Kang for the post credit scene for fucking Marvels or whatever.
They're gonna try the fake out with like they'll do Iron Lad. Oh, Iron Man's ward's back, and they'll be like, no, he's Kang. They'll trot out that
Will
shit.
he show
That's
up
true because that is how that plays out. It is a surprise. Well, actually, I don't think it is a surprise.
No,
I can't remember.
It is. We don't know he's a Kang at first. We know he's not like a Tony Stark or whatever. We know but we think he's just like some kid.
Right, yeah.
Some kid with future tech, you know.
I mean,
these kids, their future tech.
The Marvel comics, everybody's got a fucking hover car, kind of, if
That's
they want
fair.
one. Like, nobody wants them because they're stupid, but, like, the technology gap is pretty bizarre.
I was going to say, do you think he's going to show up in the Ironheart series?
I don't know, because, like,
her villain?
it does
Feels
seem
disjointed.
something.
But who knows at this point? Like,
you could do it. It does feel like she is kind of taking his place on that roster. Like, if anything, I don't think we need both of them. I could see him showing, because he's the good one, right? Like, he's the good Kang, so I could see him showing up in, like, Secret Wars to help them, but
okay.
also, it better look like What We Do in the Shadows, like, when the guy becomes a baby again. I want Jonathan Major's head on a little baby body. Like, otherwise, what's the point? But, yeah. I mean, you could just get the kid that plays him in the Creed 3 flashback, probably. That's probably what they'll do. But
I like your way better.
Yeah, I mean, they'll figure something out. But yeah, that's Quantumania. Anything we forgot?
This movie made me sad. I hope Kevin got it. I think Guardians will be good, but I think like the Marvels will be like very telling. Like if the Marvels is terrible and he's hyping it like it's the best shit ever, then I'll be like, ooh, this experiment might be over. We had a good run, boys.
Yep, I agree.
And if the Marvels is amazing, then I'll eat crow. I will come on this podcast and I will eat crow if the Marvels truly is amazing.
Oh, I think there's a chance it is, but I also think there's a chance it's not, and that is it is.
I would bet on the not if I had to bet.
Because of the MCU.
MCU?
Yeah.
Don't want an MCU movie that's just Shang-Chi? I don't know.
Yeah, that should have been this instead. It should have just been a Shang-Chi movie and not gone to the quantum realm and did karate and whatever.
That'd be cool.
I think I would have preferred that. You guys, you want to get to our classic segment? All right, DJ, what do you got to recommend to the fine people?
I got a couple things to recommend to the fine people. Hey guys. Have you heard of a little show called The Last of Us?
No, what's that?
I have not. Is that anything?
I'm not here to wreck The Last of Us. That would be stupid. Not stupid, but it's like, yeah, you've heard of The Last of Us. But like kind of in that vein. So, okay, so I decided to start watching it because I'm like, I want to be in on the thing. So, and I'm like, I know that I played the game, I love the game. So I'm like, let me give this a shot. And like, it's good, right? But I'm not here to tell you like, oh, go watch The Last of Us because everyone's already told you that. What I will say though is episode 3 of The Last of Us is fucking amazing.
God,
like,
I wish I were editing this podcast and I could make you say it's too woke or something. Like I could take words from before because there was so much wind up and it would be so easy.
No, you're gonna deep fake me. No.
Yeah. What do you think about Vaporeon, DJ? Should that have been in Last of Us? Oh, I'm sorry. I couldn't hold it in. So you like Last of Us episode 3?
So like, and maybe like this is also a thing that's like just been going around where it's like, oh, that's so amazing. But like, I think one of the things is if you're like, oh, I don't have time to like watch a whole show and like it's too much. I don't really care, and I just don't have the time. Like the third episode, which for those of you who don't know, it features Nick Offerman and Murray Bartlett, two phenomenal actors, just acting so good. Just like these two character actors that are doing character acting to the fullest. And it's just like this little love story taking place in the apocalypse, and it's self-contained. You don't really need to know anything else, and the whole thing plays out within I think the episode's like an hour 20 minutes, so it is almost like a little movie.
Yeah, it's like a movie.
Yeah, but a good runtime movie if you ask me.
Tight 90.
Tight 90, and it's so like with The Walking Dead, where it was like, oh, it's a zombie show, but the only thing that happens is the zombies, and like it just wore thin fairly quickly, I think, for some audiences. This is such like a great look of like, well, what's going on during the zombie apocalypse? Like what is the Doomsday Prepper and the guy doing, and how's the relationship play out, and what happens over the course of 20 years? And it's just like, I think, a really good look at that. And like, again, you want to see good actors do good acting, this has got it in spades. But it just felt like, for a single episode of television, something that felt so refreshing and raw and good, and something I can't compare to anything I've seen like in a long time, where it helps with the full context of the show because it progresses the plot in like a very specific way, but it also is like a little bookmark where it tells a story and doesn't meander and just builds on one relationship in a fantastic way that tells like a really good story in like a short amount of time. And I think it's so fucking good. And that's why I'm like, yeah, everyone their mother's told you to watch The Last of Us, and you're like, I ain't got time. Just watch episode 3. It's so good. Like, me telling you two this, because I don't think either of you have watched the show or episode 3.
No, I did.
Like,
I've watched almost every episode of the show, even though I don't like it.
My bad.
And I watched episode 3,
Diggins.
and it is better than the rest of it.
Well, like, okay, yeah, I'm saying it's like a masterclass of television, and maybe results may vary depending on who's watching it, and it has nothing to do with being a father, so not being suckered in that way.
That's true.
So it's something different, but I don't know, Diggins, like, is this pitch, if I'm like Nick Offerman and Murray Bartlett doing amazing character acting, is that pitch enough for you to be like, I'm going to give this a shot?
I mean, I have already heard that is amazing and knew that was what episode 3 was, and I did want to watch that. I've just been very lazy.
Okay, well, I'm telling you to go out there and do it, people. So that's that. The other thing I'd like to recommend, and I know I've recommended this show before, but season 2's out, so it's totally legal by our recommendation rules, is Next Level Chef season 2 is out. I know you all watched it as it trailed the Super Bowl. You're all like, yeah, I already know. I'm one of the whatever million people that watched it. But I'm here to tell you, 3 episodes in, that it's great. I think it's better than last season because I think they put in some rule changes, which are good, but a little bit divisive in the Chapman household. Michelle doesn't fully agree with me that these changes are better. So watch and see what you decide. But just as a quick premise, so it's a cooking competition with Gordon Ramsay and 2 other chefs whose names I don't remember. Doesn't matter. And it's like there's this 3-story building where each level is like a quality of kitchen, with the good kitchen, the great kitchen, the average kitchen, and the shitty kitchen. And then there's ingredients that go top to bottom, so the top gets the best ingredients and the bottom gets the worst. And you just got to cook a dish on theme based off your environment, and I just think it's really fun. I love most of Gordon Ramsay's television. I like season 1 of the show. I think season 2 is even better. I think they got a lot of different interesting chefs for the show, and if you like cooking competitions, I think this one knocks it out of the park. I love it.
Cool.
So, yeah, those are my 2 recommendations.
All right. Diggins, do you have anything to recommend to the fine people?
I just have one quick one this week. I've started following a little YouTube channel that I think is very fun.
The Nando
Yep,
Cut?
that's it. No, it's you've probably heard of it. It's called Drawfee.
I have not heard of that.
I actually haven't either.
It evolved out of an old College Humor thing. It's since become its own thing. It's not affiliated with like Dropout or anything, but they're friends with a lot of those guys.
Huh.
It's just these 4 artists who put out videos where they take prompts from other people and they have to do it. Sometimes it's just like, draw this thing, where it's like, draw these characters from Miyazaki movies as Dark Souls bosses. Or sometimes it's a weird challenge where it's like, one of the other ones is going to visually describe a celebrity's face to you, and you have to draw it, and we'll see how close you get.
I like that.
That's fun.
Yeah, so the challenges can be pretty fun. They're all very good artists. And also they just have great chemistry together. They just like joke around and are really funny to listen to. It's been a great thing for me to do while I'm like I'm doing something else that I don't have to fully pay attention to or whatever. It's a great thing to throw on and like have running. You glance up at the pictures, you see what they're drawing, you laugh at the banter. It's just, I think it's a really good one of those YouTube channels. And I've been having a lot of fun watching. So it's just a quick little rec for me this week. What about you, Nando?
I feel like I've seen a couple of things. So, real quick, where do we start? I will say, I'll start with the big one. I watched Creed 3. I went to a screening the other day, and I think it's really good. I think Michael B. Jordan directed it really well.
Oh.
I think the fighting is very cool. The punches are good. They really do feel like kind of different.
I was gonna say, I hear Creed 3 is anime.
It is kind of. I really don't want to spoil it, but there's something that happens that's like, wow, that is very anime of them.
Nando, the most important question I have is, how is Stephen A. Smith?
It's funny. I hate these cameos usually, but I liked him because he's kind of an asshole. Like,
okay,
you can see it in the trailer. He says to Jonathan to Michael B. Jordan, he's like, "You were the king of boxing," and then there's kind of I think he says like Adonis Creed is the king of boxing, and then his little pause. He says 5 years ago, and it's like that is what he would say to an interviewer, or to an interviewee. So that part was fun. And yeah, Jonathan Majors is very good, obviously. He's got a kind of different vibe than Kang. But, like, I haven't seen him do this before. He's got that, like, kind of L.A. gangster 50 Cent kind of, like, accent. And I think it's pretty cool. Like, something I feel like I don't see represented too much in media that isn't about that. But, like, as a character to throw into this world, I buy it. So that comes out soon. I've been finishing up Southside because it just got canceled. Another one of those shows that like got canceled that everyone likes. Although, I don't know, maybe it wasn't as popular. And it went for 3 seasons, so that's fine. That's the show by the Sherman Showcase guys about some repo men living in the south side of Chicago that I think is very funny. It's on HBO, and and I quite enjoy it. Also, I've been reading comics, like not anything new, except there's a new Captain Britain comic out. And so it's Betsy this time. I just want to make sure I get the people right because I don't know the name of the artist. But it is it's like Betsy kind of taking over the role, and it's cool because we haven't done a Captain Britain comic in a while. Okay, Vasco Georgie, and Teenie Howard writes it, who had been writing the character before. And it's interesting now because she is, I don't know, I guess her and Rachel Summers are dating, and that's like a new thing, so that's something. But also, I like that as the character, she's kind of a mess in that she's not really that good at this, but she's still trying. I think that makes for a fun read. All right, Nate Bargatze has a new special on Amazon Prime. Very funny.
Oh, really?
Still love him. Yeah, I know.
Oh,
I didn't know
shit.
anything about this, and I think I turned on Amazon Prime, and then it was there. So, pretty good.
That's really good to know. He's hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, I really have never seen a special of his that I don't really like, but so this one was one of his good ones.
Awesome. Nice.
And then last thing, after watching the Escapist review or the Zero Punctuation review of it, I bought a Hi-Fi Rush, that rhythm Devil May Cry sort of game, like Jet Set Radio. I don't even know. It's a lot of things. And I think it's pretty fun. It's got a weird writing. Like it's written kind of in a way that you groan at it every so often. But I think it gets that. But also, it's more just that the combat is fun and the concept works. The boss fights are fun. It's fun because, at least for the first boss fight, because I'm not that far into it, but you're kind of listening to the same song over and over again while you're doing like the levels. But for the boss fight, a song comes on that like you're kind of familiar with, and that gives it like kind of a cool atmosphere. So yeah, I just really liked it, or really like it so far. I'm gonna try to like finish it up as soon as possible. But yeah, it's a fun game. And it's only $30, which is nice. What are you guys thinking we'll do next week?
I don't
We could do
know.
Creed 3. We could do Cocaine Bear. We could do other stuff.
Yeah, I
Put out a
mean,
poll, which we say we're going to do, but we never do.
Creed 3 I don't think will be out by then. I think it comes out a week from
March?
today.
I
Yeah,
thought
I
it
think it's
was-
March 3rd.
March is gangbusters, by the way. There's so many movies coming out in March.
I could be wrong about this,
I
but
thought it was
I want to
already
say
out.
Creed 3 comes out on 3/3.
That's when Operation Fortune Ruse de Guerre
Oh yeah.
comes out.
No, yeah.
So
It's release
there's no
date is
way.
March
There's
3rd.
no way they'd want to go up against that sleeping titan.
Yeah. They've been charging that one up all year, just getting ready, polishing it.
No, you're right. It is next week. Sorry, I thought it was out this week for some reason.
No, yeah. I hear Cocaine Bear's okay.
I hear Cocaine is okay, too.
Yeah, I've heard interesting. I've heard mixed things. You want to be a creative in the 80s? There's no other game in town.
Yeah, let's fucking go. Yeah.
You want to be a person now? Probably not a great idea. But hey, everybody's got their problems. Yeah, I don't know. We could put up a poll. I don't know if anything came onto streaming recently.
Do we still have debt?
No, we're pretty much done unless we do Mr. Bean from Italy or whatever.
Oh, yeah, Giants Taquino. Let's do Giants
I
Taquino.
refuse.
You
I refuse.
Lorenzo's mother will come after you.
I will take that as punishment for my crimes. Yeah, I don't know. We'll look at the streaming apps and see if some new thing is out, or if anybody has something that like they think would be an interesting lead. Like we could do, I don't know,
You
because
can always tweet at us.
the
We're
Rocky
always-
movies
we're
have
always
also been
thinking
kind of talked to death. I've thought about that, but I don't know.
of- do Creed 1 and 2.
Yeah, but they're just kind of really good movies. I don't think
Yeah.
they'll be super fun episodes. There's that. Oh, you know what? That Ghost movie is on Netflix. One where David Harbour's a ghost.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
So maybe that. Yeah.
Okay.
That I think comes out today or tomorrow. So that could be it. Yeah. DJ, do you have anything to plug for the fine people?
I got a couple things to plug.
right.
So normal, Roses and Rejections. Check us out, covering The Bachelor, Next Level Kitchen, RuPaul's Drag Race, and Perfect Match, which is a show. I know I ranked it last week, but I am loving it. I think it's really good. Netflix has really figured out this reality dating TV show thing. Also, I was on the Pop Break TV podcast, Batman by the Numbers, where we rated all 23 like Batman teasers and like full trailers from the original 66 Batman to the Batman. That was really fun. Just getting a look at old Batman trailers was really good. I had some cringe ones. I think I had some great ones. So it's a good mix.
Interesting.
Yes. So check that out. Yeah, those are my plugs.
Diggins?
Just my usual stuff with newslevel.com.
Oh, MODOK, no!
Yeah, Diggins, drink the goo, drink the goo.
This is an odd name, Nando. Do you have anything to plug?
I don't remember when we did this last, if it was out yet, but I put out a video recently that's I don't love the ending of the Batman movie, but also on Nebula, I put out my Superman fan casting video, so that is there, and I think it's pretty good. I think people haven't like agreed with me necessarily, but like I think the choice is pretty valid.
I imagine you go with a man who has publicly said that he thinks he would make a good Superman, Grant Anthony O'Brien.
Oh, he would make a good. He's so tall.
He's so tall.
Also, cannot wait for Monday to see the new Game Changers.
Oh, I thought
Like,
that was the finale.
no. Well, wait. Was there one this week then?
Oh, part 2 already came out, if that's what you're waiting for.
Oh, I didn't watch it. Oh, okay. I gotta watch that then. I thought it was next week. Cool. So that's out. I'm also working on it. I was so inspired after watching this movie. Loving the character of Cassie Lang because she loves to do insurrection and that's it. But I want to do a video breaking down where I think the Young Avengers are going to show up and kind of what I think Marvel might end up doing with them. Because it used to be that it's like, are they ever going to do that? And now it's like there's too many. So we have to kind of split them up. So I did that video will probably be out in Nebula pretty soon, and then I think the Superman video might be on YouTube pretty soon. But I'm not sure. So keep an eye out at Nando V Movies on Twitter and stuff. And also, as we end the thing, I am at Nando V Movies on Twitter.
I'm at Zippy by Day.
I'm at This Is an Odd Name.
Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye.
Peace.
Bye. Love you.